Oh, yeah. Silver screen breakdowns back in effect, just like we always do it. We got the opening credits to start off the show. My name's Alex, and I'm here with Bogard Scott Free, and we're breaking down cinema greatness. What is up, homie?
My friends call me Scott. If you're Alex on this one, I'm going to be Scott.
Man, Tarantino's got the dopest intros, and it's always because of the music. I mean, cross 110th Street, and it's crazy. The movie starts with that song, and spoiler alert, it ends with that song too. That's how dope the song is.
Yeah, man. I mean, Tarantino is definitely like the music is part of the story more than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's just the story helps. The music helps narrate the story. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And so a little bit about this movie. If you guys have never seen Jackie Brown, you need to go watch it. I mean, amongst all the Tarantino movies, it definitely holds the test of time. But when it came out in 1997, I mean, there was a lot of people who were kind of shitting on it. I mean, it was not the critics, but just like everyone, moviegoers, they wanted more Pulp Fiction, and Quentin wanted to do a little hat tip to the, blaxploitation movies from the 70s.
Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? He didn't just do that. He, what I mean, was like, oh, I'm gonna do a blaxploitation film. He was like, I'm gonna adapt this series of books. It was like a 2-part series, like Rum Punch.
Yep.
And I think there was a prequel book that came out after. But yeah, man, just first of all, I don't know shit about the book. You know what I mean? But this one hell of a movie. You know what I mean? Like it's just I love character driven shit, and this is probably the most character driven piece that we got from Tarantino, because they all are. Every single film he has made, it's all character driven. But this one takes the cake as far as that.
Oh yeah, and I mean, as you know, I mean, this one's my favorite, even over Pulp Fiction, and it's probably because of the characters. Just getting to peel back the layer of the onion even more than Pulp Fiction, just learning more about these characters, and then you just talk about like the lineup, the cast, the crew. So Pam Grier, I mean, she was in all those blaxploitation movies, and she was just a badass. Like there wasn't too many black women who were in like a position of power, on screen back then. And like Pam Grier was like pretty much the only one. Like, I don't even know if there's anyone now, because Charlie's Angels, I mean, they're kind of whack, but I mean, outside of any Tarantino, world where you just have these badass women who are just in positions of power. She was there the whole movie.
Yeah.
Then you got Sam Jackson, who's just a savage. I mean, the role was written for him. Robert Forster, someone who the big studios, they didn't even want him, to be in movies anymore. He was a little bit long in the tooth. And I mean, Quentin, when Robert Forster was like, I don't think the studio is going to let you hire me. And he was like, I hire whoever I want. He's already 2 movies deep, and he had a way bigger budget than Pulp Fiction on this one. They had Bridget, Fonda, Michael Keaton, Robert De Niro. Like that one was kind of crazy, because Quentin talks about Martin Scorsese and how he's one of the people he really looks up to in all of his movies and everything he's done. So to get Robert De Niro, like just pretty freaking awesome. And then Chris Tucker even in there for one of the best scenes, in the entire movie.
Hey man, I'm high. I don't want to do anything. He was full Chris Tucker. He was Smokey from Friday.
And one thing that was cool when just listening to Quentin talk about the movie, and they asked him about Chris Tucker, that one of the people they asked him about specifically. He said he was way different than anything he'd ever heard of him, because apparently, Chris Tucker is one of the guys who, when he's on set, he's got the entourage, they're wilding out a little bit. But when it came to Quentin's movie, he wanted to take it a little bit more serious. So he's funny because he's funny, not because he's trying to be a comedian.
I mean, it's like you got to remember there's films like Rush Hour that was already out. He was a megastar.
So I don't even know when they filmed this, if the first Rush Hour dropped yet.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe they filmed this before, like it might have been released after. I mean, they might have filmed this before Rush Hour was released. I mean, either way though, like as far as the timeline goes, with
so Rush Hour was released 1 year after. So I'm pretty sure the way that it works. Yeah.
No. It's gotta. Oh, you might be right. You're right.
Yeah, that was the first one. So it went from him filming Jackie Brown to filming Rush Hour.
And you're right. That shit came out when I was 9, and it was 98.
Yep.
Damn, you're right.
So I mean, Jackie Brown did get released in 1997 on Christmas. So, might as well be 1998, at that point. So it's a real small gap between those two movies coming out. Not even a year's time.
Yeah.
So why don't we just take it all the way back to 1997 when people didn't know what the hell this was, and the movie trailer, just hit your TVs. Just check it out.
Hey.
But here we go.
If you had the chance to walk off with $500,000, would you take it?
Yeah.
What do a stewardess, a gun runner, a bail bondsman, an ex-con, a federal agent, and a beach bunny have in common?
If you're gonna come in on this thing with me, you got to be prepared to go all the way.
They're all chasing $500,000 in cash.
It wouldn't even be missed.
$500,000 will always be missed.
Let him get the money and then just take it from him.
She trying to play your ass against me, huh?
That was fun.
Yeah, I really hit the spot.
There's only one question. Who's playing who?
Let's make a deal. Oh, yeah? So what you gonna give us? Are you gonna offer to set him up?
Yeah.
Is she dead? Yes or no? Is she dead? Pretty much.
Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown.
AK-47. When you absolutely, positively got to kill every mother in the room, except no substitutes.
So in Tarantino fashion, you know that there's going to be some kind of heist. You have no idea what it is, because in every movie there's some kind of heist or something that's being transported, to a boss. And yeah, all you see is this crazy cast of characters. Can't believe that Quentin was able to get all these people on screen at the same time.
Especially during that time, right? In hindsight, we could say, hell yeah, it was easy for him. But you got to remember too, he was the good dope. You know what I mean? He was that new good dope. Everybody wanted to get high off that shit. You know what I mean? So people were seeking him out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People were seeking him out. So it doesn't surprise me that he has these big A-listers, but then also the ones he went and chose, like Michael Keaton or Buddy you just mentioned that played the FBI motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Or not the FBI, the bail bondsman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Forster.
Forster. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm saying? He sees the roles. He envisions people, and he might have a few in mind, and he brings them in. You know what I mean? And when they speak the lines, and he sees it that this is my max. You know what I mean? Or this, you know what I mean? Nobody can tell him different.
And a lot of people, they end up it's like you miss a shot on a Quentin movie, but if he really likes you, he'll make it up to you. So Sam Jackson, he misses out on Reservoir Dogs, but then, gets into one of the key roles, in Pulp Fiction. Now Pam Grier, she was in a scene that got cut in Pulp Fiction, and she was actually supposed to play the dealer's girl, but Quentin had such a respect for Pam Grier. He was like, I can't I just can't see someone being able to walk all over you like that. It's not adding up. But on the set of Pulp Fiction, he was like, but I got something in the works. I'm going to send it to you in a little bit. And Pam Grier, just like Hollywood, just everyone's always saying some shit like that. She was like, okay, sure. I'll make sure to hold my breath, and what do you know? She actually sent it to her first. And yeah, you always talk about the time when Pam goes to Quentin's office. Talk about that real quick.
Yeah. So when he brought her in to do a reading, it was personal, face to face. And you know, she comes in and she's in his office, and there's like a shitload of posters from her movies and posters of her, you know, all over the walls. And she says, "Did you put all these posters up because you knew I was coming here?" And he said, "I wanted to take them down because I knew you were coming here." You know what I mean? Like, he was such a fan of her. You know what I mean? And it wasn't fake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Pam Grier was thicker than a motherfucker. So, you know what I mean? Come on. He had it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Sam Jackson, I mean, that's another person who was kind of like in awe of Pam Grier when she was on there. Like Quentin said, there's a couple times Sam got all giddy, like my hands are around Pam Grier's throat right now. We'll get to that scene a little bit later. But yeah, so much backstory on this. And Quentin, I mean, the blaxploitation movies, I mean, that's what he grew up on. It was his mom who was always dating a brother, you know, and then to get in good with him, they'd take him to the movies, and they were going and seeing the Foxy Browns, you know, of the world. I mean, there's so many different movies that I've never seen from back then, but that's what QT grew up on.
Yeah, shout out to Q.
And so when the movie starts, I mean, the opening credits that we saw, we don't really know what's happening. We just know that it looks like she's at an airport. She's standing on one of those, I mean, it's not an escalator, but one of the things that just keeps the crowds moving, you know, and then she just ends up being in a little rush. And the one thing that I noticed is she's on flight 710, you know, so they're just doing dabs.
Nice. I love it.
And before we actually get into the movie and watch some more scenes, so what we like to do, we call it the silver screen breakdowns because we're breaking down film. You guys already know that we do some fantasy football stuff and other sports things, and we're breaking down a lot of types of film. Now, we're going to be watching a lot of scenes from the movie or parts of scenes. So if you're watching on YouTube, you might not be able to watch these scenes. Just make sure you go check out the podcast because everything will be there. So it's ssbpod.com. And if you are looking to get involved in a sponsorship role, we're starting off, you know, we're grassroots with this podcast. There's a link in the description on the pod and on YouTube where you can become an official sponsor of the podcast. Any donation, $25 or more, you're going to be getting shouted out on every month's, every podcast that's happening within the month that you donate. So we appreciate all the love.
Yeah, man. We love y'all.
Hell yeah. Let's get into this. So right after the opening credits, it cuts to Robert De Niro and Samuel L. Jackson. We saw a little bit in the trailer. I got a little part of that scene right now. They're watching Chicks with Guns. That's the movie that they're watching, or the VHS tape that they're watching. It's called Chicks with Guns. And Ordell is kind of letting you into a little bit of what he actually does. So here's a little clip from the scene.
And that there is a Tech 9, little cheap ass spray gun made out of South Miami. They retail for $3.80. I get them for $2, sell them for $8. They advertise this Tech 9 as the most popular gun in American crime. Can you believe that shit? It actually says that in the little booklet that comes with it. The most popular gun in American crime. Like they proud of that shit. Now check out this gun here. Now this here is a Steyr AUG. Steyr AUG's a bad motherfucker. Listen. Woo! It's expensive too, man. Made in Austria. Now my customers don't know shit about it, so there ain't no demand for it. Now, baby, I really could use me some more ice. Hold up. Up. Here we go. AK-47, the very best there is. When you absolutely, positively got to kill every motherfucker in the room, except no substitutes.
Classic QT dialogue, because you don't know what the hell's going on at this point. This is literally, you know, the first minute and a half, like from when the movie actually kicks in after the credits. I like how it just starts off with the Tech 9. They advertise this as the most popular gun in American crime. Like, they're proud of that shit.
Right. And see, I love it too because he's clearly on some underworld madness, right? But to him, this is business, and he treats it like a legitimate business. You know what I mean? And it's funny because he's talking to De Niro's character, Louis, and Louis don't give a fuck about what he's saying. And really, it's really just you'll learn a lot about this character that Ordell, that Sam Jackson plays. Like when you watch this movie, a lot of it is he just like to hear himself talk because he got isms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, if you know anybody, I mean, that they don't, I mean, you find out pretty soon that he's running guns and selling guns, like literally right after this, you know, talking about how he gets things for $2, you know, that retail for $4, but I sell them on the black market for $8, you know, so he's talking about all the different prices and stuff. And of course, like right at the end, AK-47, when you absolutely positively got to kill every motherfucker in the room, except no substitute.
Yeah, man.
Classic line.
Love it.
And of course, we got Bridget Fonda out there, you know, Sam Jackson's little surfer girl out in Hermosa Beach. Already got, she has her feet up on the table. So right after this, you know, baby, I can use some more ice. You see her with her feet propped up there. Quentin loves those feet. So he already got it in there. Within the first couple minutes of the movie, we got the foot shot.
Oh, yeah. And I just love the control that Sam Jackson has on these bitches. It's like, hey, bitch, I sure could use some wine. You know what I mean?
And then she starts walking. Louis too.
Right?
Yep. And then, I mean, we don't see it right here, but then the phone rings. Of course, she doesn't want to answer it. She just likes to get high and eat cereal like that and watch TV. That's really her aspirations in life. She lets that be known. Sam Jackson is giving her that cold look. Bitch, don't make me put my foot in your ass. Better go answer that phone. And then picks it up. Hello, it's for you. Doesn't even listen to who it is. Don't clown me, bitch.
Yeah, for real.
Yep. And then so he gets 2 phone calls while we're there. The first one from someone who's about to pick up some other pieces, but the second one is from Chris Tucker's character Beaumont, and he's calling from jail. And if you guys ever seen the Cat Williams stand up, this kind of just portrays of what goes on between Sam Jackson and Chris Tucker over the phone. Here we go.
If you go to jail and call your nigga friends, these motherfuckers will interrogate you more than the goddamn police did. They had your ass on the phone. Where the fuck was you at? What the fuck was you doing? Why the fuck you ain't called me?
And that's pretty much what it was. It's like, Beaumont, what the fuck you doing? You're in jail? What the fuck you doing there for? You ain't got no more sense to be drunk driving with a pistol. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Real shit.
While he's pouring himself another screwdriver, you see him get the vodka out of the fridge and pour while he's talking to Beaumont.
That was his joint for real, huh? Screwdrivers.
Yep, the whole time. That's all he was drinking on was some screwdrivers. And that's one thing that's kind of cool about like Quentin and and Sam Jackson, because he wanted to have like a backstory, you know, for Ordell. But for Quentin, like letting you know what Ordell's favorite drink was, you know, because I mean, white people, we know they like to drink a little bit of everything, you know, but black people are very consistent with what they drink. Like, you know, if you're a Hennessy motherfucker, like you are always drinking Hennessy. Ordell, he's screwdriver, man. He's vodka and OJ all the way.
Yeah, I'm a Patron drinking motherfucker myself. Like if it was up to me, but it's not like I'm drinking Patron every time I drink. But if it's my choice, I'm dial up Patroni. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if it's just something, you know, if it's a cognac sipping night, it'll be Hennessy for me. I try to get it up to the XO. But if I'm just out and about, it's probably just a Long Island because I could drink like 1 or 2 of those and just be straight.
Turn. I mean, shit, because you're drinking about like 4 or 5 different liquors in that motherfucker. I tell you that.
Yep. All right, so immediately after the phone call, then it cuts to the Cherry bail bondsman, you know, where we get a little peek in Robert Forster's character. He's the bail bondsman, Max Cherry. And one of my favorite little scenes in here is where Sam Jackson notices Debo on the wall with the picture with Robert Forster. So check out this little clip. There's 2 clips with Winston, one where they're talking about him, and then one kind of at the end of the movie where you just get to see him real quick. But here it is.
Who's that big mandingo-looking nigga you got up there on that picture with you?
That's Winston. He works here.
Damn, he's a big one, ain't he? Y'all tight?
Yeah.
But you was boss, though, right?
Yeah.
Bet it was your idea to take that picture, too, wasn't it?
Bail bonds.
Yeah, Max there?
He ain't here right now, man.
Well, where he at? Out of town?
He's around, man.
Well, give me his home number.
No, I give you his beeper number.
All right, break off the beeper number, nigga.
But just those two little short, like 15-second clips, that's the kind of shit that made this whole movie for me, because a lot of people may not understand what Sam Jackson is doing, but he's really trying to make just a corny white dude just feel hella uncomfortable about taking a picture with his black employee.
Yeah. Like, I bet you that was your idea, huh? You know what I mean? And what everybody knows without Sam Jackson saying it, we all know is that he's telling them, yeah, you took that picture so you could be like, I know, I love black people. Look at this picture I took with my employee. Like, when I take this picture, if I don't like black people, because that was like, I mean, to this day, that's an undertone that people don't want to like address. And I love how Tarantino, being a white individual himself and growing up around black culture, and you know what I mean, where I want to say he has a pass, I would more say he has a right to, like, you know, to be able to do things that relate to black people, because he actually knows, you know what I mean? It's very rare. And for him, you know, when you watch Tarantino flicks, I bet you a lot of things are inside jokes to himself. You know what I mean? Like shit that's funny to him. You know what I mean? Like that scene. Like
you talk about it all the time, where he loves his dialogue so much that when someone delivers a line and just nails it, like he'll be laughing there sometimes. Sometimes the actors yell at Quentin because he's laughing so much, fucks up the take.
Right.
But
so
the dialogue is that good though, because you watch so many of these movies where like you tune out, you know, when people start talking if there's no action, just because it's just not good dialogue.
Yeah, and like the fact that you could have like that entire scene where he goes into the bail bonds guy office, you know, that's like a 10-minute scene. You know what I mean? And like that's the movie's pretty much made up of 10 to 15-minute scenes of dialogue. You know what I mean? It's not. This one stands alone as far as like what they would call gratuitous violence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is not a Tarantino film that you're gonna see that gratuitous violence. You know what I mean? That shit is the background. You know what I mean? It's
right.
More so what you know the antagonist, like Sam Jackson is, right? You know what he's capable of. That's what makes it. Not that you have to see it. They do show him. You know, I'm pretty sure we're going to run some clips from the Chris Tucker joint, but you know what I mean? Like, he goes ahead and blasts him to hell because he's taking no shorts. And
yep. We're getting to that. We're getting to that scene next. The thing that I like about the whole bail bond scene, just how real it is, because he goes in there when, for those who have never needed a bail bondsman or anything, you know, like the bail was $10,000. So when you go to a bail bond, you usually pay 10% of that, which is $1,000 in this case. But you have to have something to put up for collateral. So it's usually people like putting their house up for collateral, you know, or something like that. You know, usually people don't have like cars that like these companies will let them throw down. So, but he had $10,000 cash. Like that was his collateral. You know, and he was like, well, why the hell are you coming here? If you got that, why don't you just go to the court? And it's so specific. He was like, fuck all that noise. He was like, I go to the court, I go give them that. Then they're going to start talking about all these court costs and shit like that. Might never get my money back.
Yep. And really, it's like the scrutiny. That's kind of the loophole, is that these bail bonds guys, they live outside of that. You know what I mean? They live outside of that, where it's like, they can compartmentalize, like, listen, I don't give a fuck where you got this money from. I'm gonna get you your bond. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Even though that's probably a dangerous thing to do, like even playing dumb, like he didn't know Beaumont's last name or Beaumont's last name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he knew his last name.
He may have not have known his name.
But
well,
listen,
he didn't even know if Beaumont was his first name or his last name. He's like, if I had to guess, I'd say that's his Christian name.
But see, I feel like that's part of the facade. Like, I don't really know him. You know what I mean? Because he's finna murk his ass. You know what I mean?
It could be.
And like he's trying to act like he don't really know him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, because you know what? I just thought of it right now. I'd never thought of it until this exact moment. But when he goes to his house, which we're gonna watch some of that scene right now, I might have cut off the very, very beginning, like little part. But when he buzzes it, you see his full name, Beaumont Livingston. So he definitely knows his full name.
Yep. You know what I mean? He's just trying to play. He's trying to play them for a fool, even though they ain't no fools. He was already on him. You know what I mean? Like Max is already on him. Like, you know what I mean? He already knows. Okay, this guy's involved with whatever this guy has, whatever he's involved in. You know what I mean? I love
he
that.
talks about it. He talks about it later, just like Tarantino. We'll keep it non-linear. If we go all the way like to the end, when Sam Jackson's talking to Robert De Niro, he's like, you know, these bail bondsmen are crooked as a barrel of snakes, don't you?
Yep.
So he don't trust a motherfucking bail bondsman, not at all. And so as soon as he gets out of there, places the bond and everything, the next scene is it cutting right to Sam Jackson going to meet Chris Tucker at his apartment. So let's cut into that. We got this broken down in 4 parts because it's a long scene, but it's fucking dope. And we got to talk about multiple parts of this. So here we go. Here's part 1.
Yeah.
Oh, D. Look at you and your free ass. What's up, man?
Come here, boy. Give me a motherfucking hug.
I didn't know you was coming by.
Yeah, my nigga.
Looking out, man. I don't know what to say, man. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Who was there for your ass?
You
huh?
was there for
Who?
me.
Who?
You,
Who?
nigga, you.
You goddamn right. See, that's how that shit works. You get your ass in trouble, I get your ass out. That's my motherfucking job. And I don't mind telling you, nigga, it's steady work.
Hey, look here, man. I'm still scared to the motherfucker OD. They talking like they serious as hell. Give me time for that machine gun shit.
Oh, come on, man. They just trying to put a fright in your ass.
If that's what they doing, they done did it.
How old is that machine gun shit, huh?
About 3 years.
3 years? Come on, man. That's an old crime, man. They ain't got room in the joint for all these niggas out here killing people now. How they gonna find room for you?
And the thing that's crazy, I mean, we already know that we go back a scene. He knows that Chris Tucker is looking at 10 years right now. But playing it cool is a motherfucker. Man, how they gonna find room for you? They ain't got room in the joint for all these motherfuckers killing people now.
Right? And like, you know what I love? I love the gasp of air that Tucker takes there. He goes, I don't know, man, like 3 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like, you know,
yeah,
but he's trying to front because he's already snitching. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's already snitching. Like, and here's the guy that he's the last person he wanted to see because he's trying to give up everybody already, minus this guy, because this guy is the guy who he knew who would bail him out. You know what I mean?
Yep, the only one that would bail him out.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about it real soon. But yeah, Chris Tucker, I mean, he's already flapping his gums, even though he didn't really need to. And, you know, that's why Sam Jackson wanted to go pay him a visit. And who was there for your ass? Who? You damn right. What do you say? You get in trouble, I get your ass out. And I don't have a problem telling you, it's steady work. That's my motherfucking job. And bonus points for anyone who can catch the parts that's actually cut out, because it's an 8-minute scene, and we probably cut out like 2 minutes of it here. But let's get into part 2. And if you see the part that was cut out, just leave it in the comments.
Come on in, man. Come on, man. Let's celebrate.
Look here. I'm really supposed to be somewhere. Matter of fact, I was kind of hoping you could run with me.
What you mean?
You know, man, I hate to be the kind of nigga that do a nigga a favor and then bam, hit the nigga up for a favor in return, but I got to be that kind of nigga.
What? What you talking about?
I need a favor, nigga.
That requires me to go out tonight?
Just a bit.
Oh, you know what? Planning on going no place tonight, man. It is late as hell, man. I'm home. I'm high, man. Come on.
And why are you home, huh? You home because I spent $10,000 to get your ass home. And look, I got a little problem, all right? I need some help. You can help me out. Now, come on. Go on in the house, throw some shit on. Come on. Let's walk out to the car with you. Come on.
I love it.
And Chris Tucker, the whole time you see him like, what? Yeah, tonight?
And you know what's funny about that whole scene too? It's like it's in sections, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna pull up on this motherfucker. I'm gonna knock on. I'm gonna buzz him. I'm gonna get buzzed in, and I'm gonna. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is get him to the car. Phase 3, I'm pretty sure we'll get into that next scene, but you know what I mean? Like, it's all meticulously plotted out for Sam Jackson to get this motherfucker to go with him. You know what I mean?
Because he talked him into, so literally right after that, he goes in the house, he gets clothes, and then they do a little walk and talk scene. That part's actually cut out. But I got the next part here where the classic Quentin Tarantino trunk, shot, or outside of the trunk, view, where, so he talked him into coming outside. Like, that's the hard part because dude just got out of jail. He's already snitching, whole bunch of shit's going on, but he does not want to go anywhere right now because Ordell is, whatever he's doing, it's something with guns. You already know that, and that's all we know. All right, let's start at the beginning first because there's a lot that goes on here. All you got to do is grab this gun, just sit right here. As soon as I open the trunk, rock this motherfucker. Like, what? He's like, I ain't getting in no trunk. The part that always makes me laugh is like, it's a crazy ass request, like get in the trunk of the car, hold this gun, but to Ordell, it's just a normal request. He's like, I can't believe you do me like this, man.
Right? I mean, it goes back to when he's at the front door with him, when he's like, this is what I do. You know what I mean? I take care of you. You know what I mean? Hey, man, it's steady work. He's like emphasizing the shit that he went out of his way. And it's like, hey, man, I don't want to be that motherfucker to ask you for a favor. But everybody asks for a favor. You know what I'm saying? But I got to be that motherfucker. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it happens all in stages. Now they're outside the trunk. And he's like, he's literally Master Windu. Master Mace Windu, if you think about it. Because what is Mace Windu? He's a Jedi. He has the Force. And I swear he's using the Force on him right there. Because he goes from, you know what I mean? Hey, I need you to do me a favor. And then he's like, hey, hop in this fucking trunk. Hey, and hold this. You're going to hold this. What was this? It's a shotgun. By the way, it's the same shit that you're about to get charged with. You know what I mean? Like, coercing him is the funniest shit to me because he's literally telling him to do some shit that he just got popped for. You know what I mean?
And it's funny. The only line that was improv was when Chris Tucker's like, man, he catches a brother off guard with this. Quentin Tarantino loves that line so much that got thrown in there.
Right? And then, first of all, hold on. He still can't convince him. And then he pulls out all the big guns, pun intended. He says, I'll take you to Roscoe's after this, bro.
And for those of you who haven't been to Roscoe's, when I tell you, like, it might be worth dying for, like.
Yeah, listen, Roscoe's give me money. That motherfucker is delicious.
And they knew the exact order. Yep, the Sco's number 2, smothered in gravy, dark meat, like, whoo, some good eating. Exactly how long I got to be in this trunk, like that was the one. Because you already know, whatever he ate coming home, it probably was some bullshit. He knows he's probably about to be going back to jail pretty soon or ending up dead doing some shit,
So when he said, and Roscoe's, to my understanding, it's an all-night joint. And well, at least that one during that time, right?
Yeah.
It was like Denny's.
Yeah, just the one that's still in the hood.
Yeah.
On West Pico. That was the one open hella late.
Yeah. You know what I mean? He's like, and you know what? That sealed the deal for him. He's like, you know what? I'll get in this shit. How long is this gonna take?
how many minutes I gotta be in this motherfucker?
Right.
And then as soon as he gets in there, he knew he fucked up. Hit him in the head. Your ponytail wearing motherfucker. What's wrong with you?
That was it. And then, I mean, obviously Sam Jackson's no fool in this movie. You know what I mean? Shout out to Ordell. He wasn't no fool. That shotgun didn't have no ammunition in it. 100%. You know what I
Of
mean?
course it didn't. Now let's watch part 4, the last part of this scene, and not as much dialogue, actually really no dialogue in this part of it, just the music playing in the background, but probably the most iconic part of this scene. Here we go. Man, you really just straight gangster, man. You see it right there. Everything before that was all fun and games, but just this last clip, that past 2 minutes, like when he throws on the rider gloves, he's got the music playing, you know, like it's the most diabolical look when he looks over his shoulder.
He threw on the murder ones.
Yep.
Right? He threw on the murder ones. He's ready to rock. Threw the tape in the joint. You know what I'm saying? Slapping that Good Brothers Johnson. Fucking love that song, Strawberry Hill, if I remember correctly. Fucking love that. Bing, 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 bing. So gangster. You know what I mean? And he's riding out, and I love that he pulls up into the hood. Obviously, a place where you know what I mean? Ain't nobody, man, you can be loud. You can be louder than a motherfucker. Ain't nobody can say shit around there. You know what I mean? And when he pulls up and he's still slapping out.
He turns it up before he drives off.
Right? And what's funny to me, not funny to me, what I love about how meticulous Tarantino is with the editing is, you know what I'm saying, when he cuts the music off and he gets out the car and he goes to the trunk, and when he's walking to the trunk, all you hear is like the crickets and all that. You just hear the night ambience, right? Ambiance, whatever you want, tomato, right? But then as soon as he blasts them, bah, bah, and the dogs start barking. You know what I mean? And then he hops back in the car and turns that bitch up and he rides out. You know what I mean? I fucking love that. I love the little, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause that's all post-production. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's all post-production. That's something you add in later. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And what's really dope about that scene is that's where you know that he's just not a fast talking, slick talking motherfucker. He's a bad motherfucker, bro. You know what I mean?
Especially because Bridget Fonda, you know, like I think the white girl doesn't see all sides of him. You know, like he may slap her around a little bit.
Yeah. Remember, even in that scene to begin with, that you know, the opening where they're watching the chicks with guns joint, right?
Yep.
Is that she's like, man, he's a dumbass. Like she's like, he don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. She's trying to shit on him.
Yeah.
Like
he's just saying, he's just repeating shit that he overheard. He
Yeah.
doesn't know any more about guns than I do, you know. So like really downplaying them. So
yeah,
and yeah, you have no idea because up until this point, I mean, everything's really just fun loving. I mean, he's laughing, talking about the guns. We know it's business, but we don't know how deep in he really is.
Right. And they haven't even introduced Jackie yet, which is dope. I mean, like, you know, technically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all we saw was her in the opening credits, and all this has happened within like the first 20 minutes, like of the movie. Because there's some parts, you know, that are real easy to skip over, but the first like 20, 25 minutes.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's happening.
Yeah. So then this straight cuts to Louis. He's hanging out with Simone. You know, she's getting her little dance on, doing the Supreme.
Yeah, doing a little show.
Yep, and then calls him up over there, and he was like, "Hey, Louis, I got some for your eyes only type shit. You know, come on outside." Opens the trunk. You know, not the same view. Like this time, it's like, you know, it's almost as if someone's watching them from the side of the car or something. You know, talk about this, and shows them Beaumont, and really. Because Louis, who knows how long Louis has actually been out and how much they actually worked together before being in prison.
So apparently they're locked together before.
Right.
But
they might not have known each other from the streets. They don't really make that clear.
No. I mean, who knows, right? But it was clearly someone that he reached out to when he got out because he had nobody. And I think it's quite endearing. The character of Robert De Niro's character, the character of Louis, because he sees everything through a lens of a world that's changed since he's been out, since he's been in. You know what I mean? So here's his concierge, essentially, to the new world. Like, hey, man, this is how it is, bro. Hey, look at this. See this? And then Robert De Niro looks at it. Oh, what did he say when he looked in the trunk?
I mean, really, he's like, who's that?
Yeah, he was like, who's that? Right?
An employee I had to let go.
And you know why? It's because he's trying to show De Niro, like, look, bro, you got out, you called me. So, I mean, mind you, this is my assumption, right? It's a safe assumption, right? And he's like, listen, this is what happens when motherfuckers that work for me, this is what happens to these motherfuckers, that they fuck me over. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I got you in this house. Are you enjoying the show? And he's like, oh, you should come inside. I already saw that show. You know what I mean?
And it's the first time you find out how, like, what's happening, like with the Mexico, connection, because when you see Jackie, running up there, you just see she's going to Mexico, going to Cabo, and then has a little Cabo Air thing, and then says that he's got $500,000 down in Mexico, and that's really what it is. Needs to get that $500,000, and then needs to get up to $1 million. Then he's going to spend the rest of his life spending.
I love that because it's circa. Actually, Carlito's Way came after, huh? You remember Carlito's Way? All he needed to make was like 70,000, or is it actually 70,000?
I think it was before. I think the original was before that. Yeah, okay. 93 was when Carlito's Way.
Okay, yeah. Remember, I just need 75,000.
Yep.
That's all he wanted. You know what I mean? Like,
.com was making everyone get bigger dreams, back in the 90s. So yeah, like guys may have needed 100,000, and that was enough to last the rest of their lifetime. And then now it's up to $1 million.
Or at least for them in the criminal's mind, like, this is all I need, so I can motherfucking be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm under the radar. I'm dipping out. I'm out of here.
Yeah, because according to Quentin Tarantino, he was the type of guy, Ordell, who he gets that $1 million, then he's gonna go to like Panama or like Puerto Rico or like something like that, and live off of that $1 million somewhere. So that $1 million could last a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean Philippines even.
Yeah, and so then right after this, then we do get back really introduced to Jackie. It's the airport parking lot. And she's walking through the parking lot, and it's Michael Keaton. And then I forget his name in Jackie Brown, but the other guy, the guy with the LAPD, that's Buck from Kill Bill. This is Buck, and I'm here to fuck.
Wow, that's him. Fucking Buck. What a dirty bot, though, huh?
Oh, yeah, motherfucker. So that's just, I always remember him for that. But so
hey, she was a fucking cum dumpster, bro. That's fucked up. Yeah. You gotta do the Kill Bills too. But yeah.
Continue. Classic. Yeah. And so they stop Jackie, and they ask her what's in the bag, and she, can we search the bag? And she was like, hell no. And he was like, okay, well, we have the right to get a warrant. I can make him sit with you, and I go get this warrant, but I don't want to go through that trouble. Just want to take a little peek in the bag. Opens the bag and then finds the money right away inside the big manila envelope. Knew exactly how much it was, the 50,000. And so you got to start putting all the pieces together right there. How they know exactly how she was going to be there, the exact amount, and all that. And then when they take her back to the police station, then they bring up Beaumont Livingston,
Mm-hmm. And which is a callback to what I was saying earlier. Like, he was, Chris Tucker, he's so afraid, he's so afraid of Ordell that he'll give up anybody else but them. Also because it's like loyalty to a fault, right?
Yeah.
He knows this motherfucker is going to be able to take care of him. So give everybody else up. But, that's what a rat is about, right? A rat is about self-preservation. So it's like, okay, let's give him Jackie Brown, because obviously Ordell likes to talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So he told her, he told everybody this shit. You know what I mean?
And then in
I got this bitch, man, she works for Cabo Air, you know what I mean? She's real thick too, you know what I'm saying? Good bitch, you know what I mean? Has a rap sheet, blah, 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 you know what I mean? I could already hear him.
Yeah. Brings in all my money for me.
Yeah.
It's crazy because we know nothing about Jackie, but like in the span of like 2 or 3 minutes while they're interrogating
You learn
her,
everything.
you get her entire backstory. You find out she's been working in the airline industry for 19 years. And she makes 16,000 plus benefits. And I did the math. So if she's working full time, about $8.25 an hour, in 1997.
I love that you did the math.
So yeah, it's definitely not a lot. And we find out it's because she got arrested, her and her husband. They were running something. I think they said they were running drugs. And the guy asked her about that, the guy at the LAPD, and she was like, "Oh, well, the pilot was my husband, and I got off." And he was like, "No, you mean you gave him up and you did probation or something, or you cut a deal and you did probation." And then he's talking shit about what she's doing. You work for the shittiest little Cabo airline, and she's just sitting there with a straight face, and pretty much just airing it all down while he's looking through her bag, and then she thinks that that's everything that's in there. That it's just the 50 grand and that's it. She's like, "Here, search all my shit, search it." And then they find, I don't know, looks like an ounce or two of blow in there. And then he's like, "What's this?" And she's like, "What's this shit?" Then it just cuts to LA County, her going in there in the blues.
So fucked up.
Yeah.
It's fucked up because you believe her too. Because it is true. She didn't know about the blow. She was very aware of the money. She's doing her job. She's doing her side job simultaneous with her her legit gig, right?
She's only making $8.25 an hour. She needs some extra money to fucking go on top of that,
right? But like that blow in there, though. See, and that's one thing I want to ask you. So, what do you think of that? Like, because we don't really know too much about Walker, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, they bring it up later. When Ordell goes to meet Jackie at her apartment, and like Ordell doesn't even know about it either. Like Jackie's response, like when he pulls it out, he's like, "What's this?" She's like, "What the fuck's that shit?" Like she didn't know that was there. And then like randomly Odell's like, "Oh, maybe that was something that Mr. Walker was sending Melanie. My bad, baby." But like just for like that's literally it. That's all you hear about that, and that's it. And to Odell, it was like, "Oh, my bad," but still.
That's funny. I just wanted some more insight on that. I like the insight you gave me because, what I'm saying? You could like, okay, when you think of the character Melanie, she has the beach house. What does she do? Like, how does she have this house? Probably held up in the house because this motherfucker Walker has her up in there. You know what I mean?
No. So, I mean, what I think is all of these houses are Odell's and he just has,
Okay, I agree with that. But like when he's like, "Oh, it's probably for Melanie because Melanie's a bitch that likes to get high." You know what I mean? But my point is, how does she have this house? Is Ordell paying for it?
Oh, well, you know what? Maybe. Oh, he's just doing some shit that, when she was talking shit. Oh, he's just talking some shit that he overheard. So maybe she met Mr. Walker and he was one of the ones putting him up on game. And then
it's like, hey, I got this bitch for you. You know what I mean?
Could have been. It could have been. Yeah. And so Jackie straight to the LA County. And the thing about like the LA County is like when they put her in, like it's a huge ass room that they put her in. And maybe there's like 10 people that go in there too. Like literally that entire room is going to be filled with people within like an hour. And like it's always filled with people. Like there's always like 50 people in there or some shit until they get moved to the next place. And so they made it look kind of nice, in there that there wasn't that many people. And then the next scene is her going to court. And it's funny. So the judge, Sid Haig, I haven't seen a bunch of black exploitation movies from back in the day, but him and Jackie did 5 movies together back in the day. So I know him, and you guys probably all know him from House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects. He's the clown. But back then he was in all those movies, and so Quentin didn't tell Jackie that Sid was going to be in the movie as the judge. And so Jackie's like in her blues or whatever, like getting ready. Then the judge comes out, and Quentin said when she saw him, she just started cracking the fuck up and like couldn't stop laughing. And I mean, they've been friends for, shit, at that point over 30 years.
Right. Well, how old was Pam Grier doing this movie? Was she really in her 40s, like the character was?
I believe so. Let's go see
She
how
had some
old.
age on.
I mean, shit, so she's 72 right now.
So 30. So
25 years ago, right?
Something. She was 40 something, like mid 40s.
72 minus 25, 47.
Yeah, because I don't know what scene you're about to show us, but when they're riding in the car, you know, when she's riding with the bondsman.
So right before that, so we'll get to that in a second, because I got the scene where she's walking out of jail. So she's standing there mute. There's no lawyer or anything, and then Ordell, he goes back to Max Cherry, gets the bail bonds, you know, gets the bond for her.
Yeah, that's right. And already Max is trying to do his ex-policeman shit.
Asking questions.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's really Ordell who wants to like divulge information.
And you know what's funny too is like he says it to him too, like, "Oh, well, you want everyone to know, right?" Remember he says that.
You want me to know how much of a slick guy you are.
Yeah, because there's something about like being narcissistic. You're only narcissistic because you want everyone to know. It's not like that's a different type of egotistical maniac, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the motherfucker that he wants you to know. You know what I mean?
Because I feel like Ordell, he's like a perfect guy for like the 80s, you know, when people could be a little bit more flashy and no one was caring. But it seems like a lot of people were trying to be a little bit more discreet when it was getting in the late 90s and early 2000s because police stings were just getting crazier all over the place.
Yeah, you had to be squared up looking. You had to look like a square so you could walk around and not be profiled in the motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Even though rocking a Kangol hat, yeah, I mean, you're not a golfer, so I mean, there's only two types of people that wear those hats, like golfers and
clearly not from Australia.
Clearly. So, classic scene right here when Jackie Brown gets out of jail when Max Cherry goes to pick her up. So we don't see when Cherry goes to pick up Beaumont. You know, they cut that whole part out. But Jackie, this whole movie's about her. So now we get a lot more backstory into it. We're going to talk about those scenes. I don't have those scenes, but yeah, let's get a load of Jackie coming out of jail.
Know you.
Man, the soundtrack goes hard. And another just classic song, you know, that Quentin puts in there. And
yeah, I'm singing in the motherfucker.
Make sure you cut that. Yeah, make sure you cut that clip for social media. That'll be a good one. But it's dope because when Quentin talks about making movies, he talks about how when he gets to the post-production, he's listening to all his old albums, you know, all the old joints, and he's trying to find the perfect songs for these scenes to give it, you know, the personality that he needs. And it's funny because, like, when you hear a lot of people talk about this scene, they're like, oh, Max Cherry's, like, you know, falling in love with her, you know, but I mean, that's just corny. Like, that shit's not real life. Like, really, he's just seeing, like, a badass, you know, Pam Grier, like, and walking out of jail
in a long time too. Seriously.
Yeah.
He's like a 56-year-old character, right? That's his age in the movie.
Yep.
Right? He looking at this bitch, she coming down, and she's better than the motherfucker. And he's like, damn, sweet black pussy. You know what I mean? Like that's what I looked at but also, you know what's so dope about him as an actor in this movie? He always has that look. Like that, he has that same look. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep, the entire time.
The entire time. So it's like, really, what is he thinking? You could, it's open for interpretation, and that's what makes that scene so great. You know what I mean?
And because it's like a guy like Max Cherry, I mean, I'm assuming the most that he does is work with people like this, you know, or you know, their clients, you know, like, or whatever,
non-white people.
Exactly. Other than that, I mean, just like Ordell making fun of him in the beginning, because just back then, white people hung out with white people, you know, especially like in areas like in LA, where it's like, you know, you either live in South Central or you don't.
it's straight up. You're in the valley or you're in South Central. You know what I mean?
Yep. And so then we just get even more of, Jackie kind of just unraveling everything, like this something was up. They were waiting for my ass, and then.
Can I ask you another last question?
Let's hear it.
Was it red apples?
I don't think it was red apples. I don't think there was. No, I mean, unless when she goes in, when they go into the bar, and well, it's funny, right before that, Max, he was like, "Hey, how do you you want to go to this? What's he say? The
river bottom?
Yeah, I want to go to the river bottom."
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, never heard of it." He's like, "Well, it's a cop bar." She's like, "I don't want to go there, motherfucker." Like, why the fuck I want to go to a cop bar? It's exactly what she's thinking.
But you know what's so funny about that is because you could tell, first of all, the character in the book, the character of Max, they told a little bit more backstory. He had a wife, you know what I mean? And he kind of mentions it later, but it kind of seemed like a work. You know what I mean? When he was like, "Oh, my wife left the thing." I mean, obviously it was part of the work, right? I mean, I'm probably skipping ahead, but like it's the only time he ever references a wife, whether it was a work or not. But in the character from the book, he had a wife, and she wouldn't give him no pussy. You know what I mean? He's just a workaholic, and like, you know what I'm saying? So like, this is his chance. Like, he has this bad bitch in his car, and he just bailed her out. He's hella trying to do like the fucking Nightingale syndrome. You know what I mean? Like the white knight shit. Like, hey, I just saved her. Maybe I get her liquored up. I might be able to lamb the sweet black puss. You know what I mean?
You know, it's funny. At the beginning of this episode, you said you didn't know shit about this book, but hey, mushrooms give me money.
Hey, listen, I mean, okay, I don't know shit about the book per se, but it's all from like just going down the rabbit hole of listening to Tarantino talk about the book. You know
That's all we need to know. It's all coming from his version's better anyways.
And yes, mushrooms give me money. I'm there. I'm over here trying to put my feet up. I'm fucking there. You're talking and I'm just listening to the sweet sultry sounds of wrestling when I close my eyes behind these glasses. Colors.
So then they actually go to the bar, and it's just a bunch of dialogue, like, I mean, it's nothing even really important about what they're talking about. It's just some good dialogue, them talking. And one thing right before they get out of the car, though, she opens up the glove box and notices, a strap there. You don't see her take it, but we find out very shortly that she does end up taking it. And so
I think she sucked his dick, bro.
Yeah.
I'm serious. How the fuck do you get? I mean, like he had to have let her then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck, you know what I mean?
He just didn't even know. So they talk about that later. We'll talk about what he says after. But I mean, she just put it in her purse, like really quick. He's driving, and then it cuts right back to right after she gets dropped off. After the bar,
they go to the hood bar too, though.
They go to the hood bar, the one by the joint by her place, because he wants to take her to the river bottom, the cop bar, and she's like, "Fuck that."
Is it
dark?
dark?
He brings up, "Oh, it's kind of a sports bar, another one." She's like, "Shit doesn't sound dark." He's like, "Why does it have to be dark?" And she was like, "Because I just got out of jail. I just look like I just got out of jail."
She's a fly bitch that don't want to be, you know what I'm saying? Everything's a debut. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, I'm not finna go to this bar and I got this gel all in my hair and fuck that shit. You know what I mean?
Yep. Hell yeah. And so he, after the bar, like I said, bunch of dialogue, nothing really important, to the story necessarily. Then he drops her back off at home, and who's waiting for her? Ordell. And he's bumping some Johnny Cash this time. He brings out his gloves, he's got his pistol, starts walking up to the house, right after her. Pretty much invites himself in, and they got some booze.
Make me a screwdriver.
Yeah, got some vodka, got some OJ. Hook a brother up with a screwdriver.
It's a little bit of Luigi-isms here. So we get, man, I might not even cut this out for the podcast version, right? But check this out. I'm Luigi than a motherfucker right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm really taking it in, and I'm really digging. I love the analogy. I'm such an idiot. Like seriously, like an idiot savant even, right? Such an idiot that like that analogy that you hit us with never occurred to me until you hit me with it. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. We're like, well, you know, we're fantasy analysts. We break down film. I'm like, oh my fucking God. Breakdowns.
And we love breaking down. I mean, it's like a watch party without doing a watch party. So everyone on the podcast, you get everything in full effect. Everyone on YouTube, so make sure you go to ssbpod.com. Go start downloading all the joints so you can at least hear all the scenes that we're watching and breaking down. YouTube,
it's going to get to a point where they'll pay us to patch us in on a StreamYard or a Zoom or whatever it may be. And we'll watch those movies with them. You can pay you pay me and Hustler, and we will watch those movies with you.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. And we'll break it down just like that.
Let's go.
And so they're now he's got the screwdriver, and Ordell, he is like, he doesn't know that the blow was put there by, at least he doesn't put two and two together yet. Because he was like, you gonna thank me? And she was like, for what? And he was like, well, how do you think you got out of jail? Or who you think got you out of jail? And she was like, same motherfucker who got me into jail. And he was like, you got caught with blow, girl. That's your problem. And so she didn't know that she had it, but that was really the whole thing right there. Then he brings up, she brings up Beaumont, and he was like, oh, I knew it. I knew that motherfucker was talking, you know? And then we got two parts from this scene that we're going to be breaking down, but here's where it gets really, really real. Here we go.
You should be asking why they picked me up. They were waiting for me. They knew about the money, and they knew the exact amount.
They tell you how they happen to come by this information?
Beaumont Livingston?
I knew it. I knew it.
They even asked me if I knew Mr. Walker.
Yeah?
I didn't tell him anything about it.
My name come up? You ain't say nothing about me. Why, that's mighty noble of you. They tell you what happened to this Beaumont fella?
Yeah, they told me.
Yeah. Somebody must have been real mad at old Beaumont. Else they're pretty scared about what he might say to keep from doing some time. Yeah, I bet they asked you a whole shitload of questions. And you ain't give them no kind of answer.
All right, so I broke it down just perfectly for that, because you get two sides, you know, to this scene. And so starts talking about Beaumont, just like we said. You get the little split screen. I know that was something they used to do back in the 70s a lot, was the little split screen.
He got that from Brian DeLipo or Delipo, or I forget his name, is the dude that did Scarface and other film, Carrie, other films like that, right? Where like the split screen was super. This, you know, this isn't post production. This isn't post production when you do split screen like that. You know, you're using a lens that uses. So this is him taking from one of his heroes. You know what I mean? That's why I love that scene. You know what I mean? Cinematically, is that the word? We're wrong with it.
Yep. Yeah, cinematic greatness is what we are breaking down here.
Yeah.
And so this is the second time in the apartment that Ordell turned the lights down. So when he came in first and Jackie's getting them, you know, the drink, he turns the lights off when she goes to get the drink. There's nothing, no mention of it. She just walks out, gives him the drink, and then turns the light back on. He starts getting crazy, you know, and getting more methodical, turns the light off again, you know, then
he's ready to smoke her ass.
Ready to smoke her. And right at this moment, Jackie looks super vulnerable right now, because all you know is that Ordell is a cold-blooded killer. He's already killed one person in this movie, already bragged about killing that one person to another person. Just let him know how hard he is. And then now here's poor old Jackie. You know, at least that's what we think right now. But oh boy, does she flip the script and get
And before you play this scene, I do want to point out that how ruthless he is, where he got the confirmation that Beaumont was a rat.
Yep.
Because he was just willing to kill him to prevent it.
Right. He didn't know. He didn't know 100.
It made him feel better.
Yeah, because he didn't know 100% if he didn't know 100% if Beaumont actually said anything. But that was the validation, knowing, yep, I did the right thing.
Yep.
And I'm about to do the right thing right now too.
Exactly.
But here we go. Foxy Brown turning the tables. Just totally flipped the script on him. Showed him who the bigger gangster was.
She's a bad bitch, bro. And I love it because, woo, like, see, one of the parts that she had cut out when she's like, turn around, and she, you know what I mean, like, put your hands behind your head. She's doing the police shit. You know what I mean? And like, and you could probably put a gun in his fucking face. He won't be scared. But put that strap to his ding-a-ling, bro. Story, man.
I think that's a gun pressed up against my dick.
Yeah, bro. You know what I mean? In true Sam Jackson fashion, you'd be like, "This is not the first time I've had a gun pointed at my face." But put it in his dick, though.
All bets were off at that point.
A motherfucker gotta fuck, bro.
It's like, you've been talking to the police too much. Shut up.
And you know what's funny is he immediately goes there. I love the character. I fucking love the psychology of it all. I fucking love it.
Because you knew what he was doing. You knew exactly what he was doing. And he got caught.
He's trying to him. It's like, baby, what are you talking about? You talk to the police like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
You know, like, I ain't got nothing to do with you. I always carry that gun on me.
You know what I mean? Like, I fucking love it, dude.
He's like talking to the police and pinning black against black, you know?
Yeah. He would have said anything right there.
But that's why this movie is my favorite, is because, like, man, just you see the evolution of like these characters. Like Jackie, up until that point, just seemed like, you know, like, timid. Someone who seemed, I mean, really nervous, maybe over her head.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a person from the hood. I use the N-word. Her emphasis on the N-word when she's like, you know, when she has, it's like, yeah, when he asks her, was that a gun around? It's like, yeah. And she, you know what I mean? Just, you knew she was a bad bitch right there. Like, so well done.
Oh, yeah.
If Quentin Tarantino probably fucking fell out right there when they were filming that shit. You know what I mean?
Probably, because this is definitely one of the best scenes. I mean, there's so many good scenes in this movie. I'm going to say it's definitely one of the best.
I mean, it's all dialogue, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can honestly say that, right? About this whole
character development. Like, we're watching these characters develop into things we didn't know what they were, like within split seconds of each other. That's the cool thing about it. We didn't know we knew that Jackie was, at least her husband got her into some shit. That's all we knew. We knew she'd been in the LA County. That's about it. Didn't know too much more than that.
Such a good scene.
She's down. She is down. We're back at it. And so yeah, we learn how bad of a bitch Jackie really is. She's a gangster. She ain't fucking around. And I really like how they got everything with the timing, because they have the split screen going. Max makes it all the way back, you know, to the bail bonds, reaches in the glove box, and he's like, where the fuck's the gun? And that's when she cocks it. All works out timing wise. Love it.
Right, like, and you know what's so tight is that, like, she is, in my version, she sucked his dick or something, like, had him distracted so she could take the gun, whatever it may have been.
He's old, man. You said he's like 56.
Yeah, he dropped his guard. He just dropped his guard because she was sexy in the motherfucker.
Look, here's what could have happened. Here's how it exactly could have happened. He shuts off the car. They both open the door. He gets out.
Or he even gets
it in real quick, and then she gets out. Nah, I doubt that happened. It could have. I doubt it, but maybe.
Like, okay, in the version though, she gets out second. How about that?
Yeah.
So in the moment that he opens the door to get out, that's when she snatches the strapola.
It has to be because there's probably no other time besides that. That's that easy.
And she has it the whole time while they're in there conversing in the motherfucking bar.
Yep, because he never goes back into his glove box until he gets back to the office anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, so the next scene after that, so now they start talking and now Jackie's
Is that a white people thing? My bad. Like, no, well, put the gun in the dash. You know what I mean? Because like is that like?
Well, for him it's legal. For him it's legal. So I mean, maybe who knows?
Yeah, I guess. Like, I put it with the registration.
But yep. So then, Jackie, she's got the gun on him, and then just really telling him how it's gonna be. If I get convicted up to a year, you're gonna give me $100,000. If I got to do more than a year for every year, you're gonna tack on another 100,000. Yep.
You ran the contract on them.
Yep. And she already said it. You already know they're gonna come around to asking me, for a plea deal. So
and she, with her history, she's already been down this road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She is not afraid to self-preserve. You know what I mean? Like,
she's getting $16,000 a year. You know that they're taking some taxes.
You need some good money, and it'll be all go away.
Yep. And then it was all worth it in the end.
Wow.
Then they agreed to it and all that. And then it cuts to the next morning and Max comes over to her house, obviously, to get the gun. That's the first thing she brings up. And I think just the allure of her is too much because, like, she's like, I know that she was like, I was going to ask you, but you'd have to say no. Like, you'd have to. And like, he gave it back to her. And it was like this whole innocent, victim type of thing.
He's thinking, is she naked under that robe?
That's all he's thinking the whole time.
And then just like, hey, you know what? Want to hear some music? Hey, you know what? Want some coffee? I feel it. You know what I mean? And then even to the point that she got Jedi mind. She got the Force. Where he goes, well, if you want to hold on to
it. And she was even like, no, I got one now. And he was like, you went out at midnight and bought a gun?
And he went all cop on her, huh? He turned real cop fast. Wait, you what? How did you get it? Like, shut the fuck up, cop.
Yeah, she was like, well, let's just say I got one now, okay?
She took his shit.
And it's funny. So one of the lines that I really like, just during the dialogue, she's like, Max, what do you think? How do you feel about getting old? And when people usually ask that, they're asking it because they feel old themselves. And he was like, you're not old. Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, no. I'm asking you, how do you feel?
He's joking.
Yeah.
All he's thinking about is that sweet black pussy, bro. That's all he's thinking about. Is like everything. Oh, you don't know, no, not you. Like, no. I'm talking about your old ass. You know what I mean?
That part always made me laugh because that's usually what people are asking for. They ask that because they usually think they're getting old themselves. For her, it wasn't.
And he starts admitting this shit.
Yeah.
Right? To a degree. Like, well, when got my hair, took care of my hair. It was falling out. And when you really look at his fucking hair, like, it made me look at him when he said that one. It was like, oh, he has plugs. Or at least that's what they wanted to make it look like.
Right.
Like the top of his headpiece.
Yeah.
His plugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Clearly
it's going back to like Murray's wigs, from Goodfellas.
Right.
Some shit like that.
Yes. And that's another perfect example of Tarantino dialogue that we are engaged in this dialogue. And when you really consider what they're talking about, it's just regular conversation.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it's built up where it's him, he jocks her, but he's clearly knows his place in the world and what he is. He's a fucking bondsman. He's a cop, basically.
Yeah.
And she knows she's dancing with the devil, but she could just flaunt her shit because she could play him like women do men. You know what I mean?
Just like she's playing Michael Keaton, pretty much the entire time also. Because right after this, because then she starts, talking a little bit about how, you know, she's got to make some kind of a deal. She's got to be able to like make these moves, you know, and so then goes back to her, you know, like getting back into that interrogation room. And now Michael Keaton rolling in there all cool with his leather jacket and shit. And every time he moves, it's like you hear it. Yeah. Every time he moves.
Crispy.
And so
fucking awesome.
Jackie's gonna pretty much put Cordell out on the silver platter, but it's to get his money across too. She's like playing both sides, you know, at the same time, because she's got to be able to get the money, but she can't let him know about it or how much it really is. And so, like, she's even talking about it, you know, like, I want like full immunity, you know, if I'm going to give up Ordell and I'm not going to wear a wire. And Michael Keaton just kind of sitting there, you know.
He's like, oh, so it's real easy. Or what did he say? Yes.
No, he was like, it's possible. It's possible. And, like, he's trying to play it cool.
Yeah.
But they're super hyped because before they go in. What?
He's being sarcastic too, though.
Oh, yeah.
Her requests are out of this world.
Well, not really. I mean, that's what they want. You know, he wants a guy that's going to be bringing out guns. You know, like he's moving up the ladder to be able to get to Ordell. Like he's been trying to get there for a long time.
Okay, so that's what you took from that he actually was like sincere, like, oh yeah, we can do that.
Because it's really just letting her be able to fly, but with you know, him like knowing everything about what's going on, knowing that she's going to be bringing back money, but it's a sting to catch him, or like setting up the sting.
Bro, she's such a powerful character that, like, cause this is mushroom epiphany shit. She's using the it's not even the force, it's greater than the force. It's the power of the sweet pussy, bro. Like, she is playing that motherfucker also. Like, hey, listen, you need to give me this so I can go get you that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, if I don't go to work tomorrow, I'm fired.
Yeah. I love that. She's so powerful.
Yeah. And so even before he walks in, you know, like Michael Keaton's walking up and the LAPD guy, you know, he's all giddy walking out. The first time they were in the office, Jackie was like, can I smoke? And he was like, no, you may not. And then this time he's all happy because now she's going to start singing. Yeah. She's like, can I smoke? And he was like, hell yeah, you can. And, you know, gets all giddy before Michael Keaton goes in there. So everything is working.
We got to speak with you privately.
So everything that Michael Keaton is working on in his head is going to actually come to fruition now that Jackie is seeming like she's flipped, is what it seems like, you know. But we already know she's going to try to work both sides. So next thing we see is Ordell going over to Melanie's house, and Louis is over there. And he's like, oh, y'all some regular Cheech and Chongs over here. And he was like, man, girl, that's gonna rob you of your ambition. You're getting high. It's only 2:00 in the afternoon. Right. And she was like, not if your ambition is to smoke weed and watch TV.
Fucking Bridget.
So he leaves her there, or leaves Louis there while he's gonna go do some shit. He doesn't say what he's gonna do, but he's going to meet Jackie right after, you know, her meeting with Michael Keaton and the ATF guys. And so right when he's walking out, it's funny. He was like, try not to rip his clothes all off him, you know, or like something like that.
Yeah.
So
he already knows she's clearly like a nymphomaniac type. You know what I mean? Yeah. And
so they make their chit chat for a couple minutes or whatever. And then finally she's just bored of it. She's like, want to fuck? And then what does it say? Like 30 seconds later, 3 minutes later, Robert De Niro's huffing and puffing like an old dog or something.
Hey, great acting.
Oh,
because that seemed like a motherfucker who hadn't had pussy in hell of moon. many moons.
Oh, yeah.
And like, he was like, I really hit the spot.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. And then
he busted like a 10-year load in her.
Then we get back to the real meeting, you know, at hand. That was just, you know, some stuff to let Ordell actually get to the bar where he was going to meet up with Jackie. And that's the next scene that we are breaking down here. I got it in 2 parts, and another classic scene in this movie. So here we go. Let's check it out. Man, you know, Quentin loved writing this dialogue, like getting two guys, you know, just to keep flirting with Jackie the entire time. He's like, you doing all right? She's like, I'm fine. He's like, you damn right you are.
I love his pathetic attempts too. Like he's like, because he obviously is trying to butter her every chance he gets, and then you find I bet you do have it more than whatever he said, right? Then he goes right to it. You think he was following? Like it's such a pathetic attempt to like jock her, right?
Yeah.
Because really, he don't give a fuck about none of that shit. You know what I mean? And it only takes but so much where he gets right to the point. And she just kills him because she's in total control. She got the power.
But I think Sam Jackson is kind of like Quentin. Okay, so there's this documentary QT8 that I keep telling Bogard to watch, and one day he's gonna actually watch it.
Yeah.
So there's I forget who was talking about it exactly. Oh, it was the stunt woman from Kill Bill, the one who plays the bride. But
the one who wasn't there that day that fucking Uma actually crashed.
Yeah. Well, they needed Uma's face in it. That's what they needed. But so she talks about it, how Quentin, like, he just loves women, all shapes and sizes, all colors and flavors. And, and I think that's what they were kind of like portraying with Samuel Jackson, because every girl that he has is like way different.
It's different,
from the other ones.
Yeah. Well, I got another one. Remember, he's like, oh, well, I need 2 girls. Oh, I got a problem. Right? Like he got him.
But so this scene has always been one of my favorites because you just see the range of Sam Jackson. It goes from like, a day before where he's trying to kill her to now, where
big jocking her.
Yeah, big jocking her. And then it's just funny, like hella vulnerable now when she was like, well, they didn't need to follow me.
Because he realized it's the only way she finna get his money.
Yeah.
It's the only way he's gonna get his money.
Yeah, and and she even said it when she was talking to Max, there may be some other people, who could do it, but they're crooks. He actually trusts me. And so, you're talking about $500,000. You really got to trust someone, because people run away for a lot less.
She about to crook his ass based on that.
Yeah, and he really just had no other options, because if it's not her, the money's just going to get left down there anyways. So he's already pot committed, at this point, really. So, because it's just crazy. The whole part where he's feeling really vulnerable, where he's like, she's like, oh yeah, they didn't need to follow me. They know I'm meeting you. And he's like, well, how they know that? She was like, I told them. He's like, well, what the fuck you telling that for? And she was it's like, you tell him anything else? And I told him you have $500,000 in Mexico. What the fuck you tell him that for? Was true, ain't it? It's like, what the fuck that got to do with anything?
Because knowing his character, this $1 million journey he's on, he's halfway, and that's all he gets. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, once you start talking about his dream, his goal, you know what I mean? It's in jeopardy. She got all the power, bro.
And let's not forget the reason why he was going to kill her, because he didn't want her to say anything to the police, like any of those things that she said. So that was really her flexing her muscle.
Like, I did it all, bitch ass motherfucker.
Yep. And now let's get to part 2 of the scene after Sam Jackson calms down a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that like in every part of the world, like you always got to convince some people to do some things, but I don't know what it is. When you get to the hood, everyone's always got to convince someone else to do something. And you got to get real good at having those sales pitches. And we've already seen multiple sales pitches throughout this movie. It wasn't a product, exchanging hands. It was convincing someone to do something.
Yep. She killed that. I mean, she has all the juice. She got all the power. You know what I mean? He really need to hear her. He really, like, when I say hear her, like, not just listen to the words she's saying, like, he really got to buy into what she's saying, because it's his only way to get his bread.
That's like white men can't jump. You're listening, but you're not hearing.
Exactly. You know what I mean? He really got to get this bread. You know what I'm saying? And this is how dope she is. She already let him know, listen, I already basically gave you up. You know what I mean?
And that's the only way that we can even maybe get this to happen.
Yep. And before that, she already had the verbal contract where, like, listen, if I'm going to do this and third, she might not even have the plan exactly yet, but she's like, listen, I'm going to need 100 if I get convicted. And if I do more than a year, I need 200 banditos. You know what I mean?
Well, she didn't have the full plan, but she already laid it out right there. This is going to be a 2-part run. You know, we're going to bring 50,000 the first time. We're going to make it look like it's the same amount the second time, but that's when we're bringing all the money. So she at least had the first part of it and knew that they were going to do it at the mall, you know, largest mall in America.
No. I understand that. What I was talking about was like when she already had told his ass when she sick strap bowl on him. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to need this amount. Like she was already getting the verbal contracts going. I'm gonna need 100 bands if I'm gonna have to do this and sit down for X amount of time. You know what I mean?
Well, because what it was at that point, because she came over there to kill him, or he came over there to kill her because he didn't want her to say shit.
Yeah.
So that's what she was saying. If I don't say shit, you know, and I have to go to jail because of this, that's when you're gonna give me this money. And then she flips the script.
Yeah, like, hey, listen, I already told him about you.
but we're gonna get the money now.
Let's go.
So it went from, you know, not saying anything about anybody, but the money probably being stranded there, to Jackie flipping the script, and now there's a possibility of that $500,000 actually making it back to U.S. soil.
Fucking Jacqueline.
And so that's the end of the scene there, and then it cuts to Ordell and Louis in the bar, and it's funny. It's just classic dialogue, and the funniest part is when, like, because Ordell already knows that Louis fucked her, because like he just knows that's Melanie, you know, but like Louis doesn't know that. So it's real funny when Louis is just you know, just trying to explain like what happened, you know, and all that. And Sam Jackson's like, well, I hope you felt appropriately bad afterwards. Yeah. All right. So Louis and Ordell in the bar talking, and really, I mean, Louis tells Ordell about how Melanie is like already trying to like go behind his back, you know, trying to cut him out. And Ordell, you want to talk about what Ordell says?
Yeah, Ordell he's already on game with it. Hey, he's already on game. Like, listen, man, he's like, because Louis can't for the life of him understand why he'll keep a bitch around that he doesn't trust. And he's like, listen, man, if you know Melody, you could trust her. I said, I can't trust Melody, but I could trust Melody to do Melody things, essentially. I'm paraphrasing it, but
no, you can always trust Melanie to be Melanie. That's what
there it is. You know what I mean?
That's because she's the cokehead. She's the stoner cokehead.
Yeah, he already knew the bitches, but you know, the bitch is trying to cut him out. I mean, she's an easy street living motherfucker, right? When you're on easy street, you know what that means. You just want to stay living on easy street. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like this was her ticket out, and she'll throw the pussy at whoever the fuck, and thinking that she got the juice, but she ain't Jackie Brown. You know what I mean? She's just a regular bitch. You know what I mean? She's a pawn.
Yep. And it's funny. So right after this,
I mean, so is Louis though.
Yeah.
So is Louis. Louis is a pawn.
Right. I mean, everyone's a pawn. I mean, you know, in Ordell's game anyways. And then it cuts back to Jackie going home. Now, this is one of those classic Tarantino scenes where literally nothing happens, but time goes by, but you don't fast forward it or anything because it's funny dialogue. So she goes home, and this is back when you had answering machines. You know, you go home, press the button, you know, you listen to the answering machine while you're doing your shit around the house. So she's like she's like putting shit away, and it's Max. And it's hilarious. I've always laughed. You know, I mean, obviously, we're always smoking, you know.
Well, he fucking reiterates the phone numbers.
All of them, like every single one. Like, here's the office number, and here's my house number, and oh, here's my beeper number, and you know, and just leave a specific type of message, and you know, like just a whole bunch of shit.
And then you press 5-9, and then he had her going the whole thing. She wasn't gonna do none of that.
No, she just deleted that shit like right after that.
She just deleted the fuck out of it.
But that part always made me laugh, and it's one of Quentin Tarantino's, you know, like just random scenes where it's something hella random. I mean, she's literally just listening to an answering machine recording of Max, like read off all his numbers because he's hella desperate and he wants to fuck her, you know, like really, really bad.
Hell yeah. I mean, he's listening to the Delphonics. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
she got him going buying tapes and shit.
He was legit when she said it too. You ever heard of the Delphonics? Like, no. And then then he's listened to it. He says, this is good. You know what I mean?
Yep. Hell yeah. And so really that whole scene of nothing happens. And then you get to the big mall, where you see Max walking around and he sees Jackie. And or actually I might be skipping ahead a little bit. Jackie is talking to Ordell and they're pretty much just getting the rundown.
They got the Kangos going.
Both of them got the Kangos on. Got to be rocking them, got
Right.
the matching fit, with it. And
He got the shirt too, right? If I remember correctly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so Jackie's giving him the rundown of what's going to happen and, how he's going to need someone to switch the bags with and just the rundown of everything that's going to happen with the whole ordeal. When they split, Ordell starts walking off and then he sees Max walking. He kind of, because he doesn't trust the bail bondsman. He don't trust those motherfuckers. So he ducks.
He started eye fucking them. He started watching them motherfuckers.
Yep. Ducks into one of the stores just so he can get it. Because, Max doesn't see him, and then Ordell just starts following him. And then Ordell
sees why too, right? Why Max didn't see him? Because he saw her. And that's all. Once he sees her, he's tunnel vision to the point that he even tries to walk past her.
Well, and you know what it is?
So hard.
I just feel like, okay, when you're from the hood.
You think he's Magoo?
Well, no. Here's what I feel like. This is just like psychological, just like in our brains, things we probably don't even think about. But when you're from the hood, you always got your head on a swivel. You're always looking around.
You're not that guy.
When you are from, let's just say a privileged type of background, you don't even think like that. You're walking through life, halfway blind. Sometimes he's literally at the mall, just going through all the motions of his like boring ass life. He already told Winston, I'm gonna go check out a movie. I don't even know what I'm gonna see. I'm just gonna go. But yeah, Ordell sees him. Already has to be on scope mode because he don't trust a bail bondsman, not at all. And then sees him go start talking to Jackie. And that's really like where it ends. But Ordell knows that they're in cahoots a little bit more than just her being her bail bondsman.
Yeah, shit. And then, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what he's literally, I think that's what he said, right? He's like, what the fuck is this?
Yep. Because he hates the fact that she's so buddy with everyone, including the bail bondsman. So then next scene is like her, Jackie and Ordell or something. I might be mixing up the timeline a little bit here, but there's a time where Jackie is about to go meet Michael Keaton, and her and Ordell are talking. He's like, man, I hate that you're so buddy with that motherfucker. And she was like, well, if I wasn't buddy with that motherfucker, this shit wouldn't even be able to happen.
He already knew it too.
Yep.
You already knew it.
Yep. And so Jackie's talking to Michael Keaton. I forget what the fuck his name is. Oh, Ray. Talking to Ray. And they're eating a nice dinner, like they're at some steakhouse or like something like that, like he's
trying to fuck her.
He's trying to fuck her too. Like everyone's trying to fuck Jackie, she's got that power. And so, giving a little rundown of like what's going to happen and Jackie kind of telling him what's going to happen. That's really what the whole conversation's about. Nothing really even important outside of that. And then it gets to the whole first sting, where it's Jackie bringing 50,000 and it's going to be a switch with Sheronda, the one who's from North Carolina or whatever, who thinks that standing.
Yeah, the young bitch, the little baby cot, 19.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He was out here on his shoes, real country, and the motherfucker, no shoes on.
Yep. He was like, to her country ass Compton might as well be Hollywood.
Might as well be Hollywood.
And so, cuts to the mall. Jackie's sitting down waiting for someone. And then it's Sheronda who comes up there. She's got her food. She's got the bag. They're just talking. She's all nervous. Sheronda's nervous as fuck. Like you can tell. Like, and who knows what she's on? Because it looks like she's on something. And when we get a little bit later,
some dope.
Yeah, she's on something. And Jackie's even got to tell her, like, it's okay. You can eat. Her country ass was too scared to even eat. And so then Jackie ends up leaving. They both have the exact same bag. So the whole gig is Jackie's taking the empty bag now. Sheronda's going to take the bag with the money. And then Michael Keaton and the LAPD officer, Buck, they're going to be following Sheronda to make the bust on it. But Ordell's too smart for that. He throws a curveball at her. He gets Simone's ass over there with the exact same bag. Sheronda picks up the empty bag. Simone is the one who leaves with the money. And Max is watching the entire thing like unfold, like, oh shit. And just seeing like this could actually work.
Yep.
And so Jackie's pissed. Oh yeah, this could work.
Yeah.
That's talking to himself. Says it out loud though, because no one's there to hear it. Cuts to Jackie going over to Melanie's house and then being hella pissed because she didn't know that Simone was going to take the money. Now it put her in an awkward ass position, you know, with the ATF guy. Yep. And Ordell, he's got to calm her ass down, but Simone's nowhere to be found. She fucking takes off with the money.
She did his ass.
And we
goes to show how he thought, bro.
Well, and seeing Jackie even said it, like, oh, all the people that he know, they're crooks. You can't trust them with money.
Yep.
Couldn't even trust her with 50,000, let alone 500,000.
Exactly.
Yep. And so now this is where it all gets to the end. You know,
real quick too. It goes to show that he really ain't got too many bitches like that.
No,
all of them wanted to get him.
No one's who's really solid, because the only things that we know now, we've only seen 4 girls with Jackie. Jackie's obviously playing them. You know, Melanie's been talking shit behind his back since the fucking first
trying to plot on him, motherfucker.
Trying to get Louis to, you know, coerce with him. Simone just jacked him for 50,000. Sheronda's the only one that he can trust, but it's because she's so doped up that like he knows that she's not gonna do shit.
She's from the country.
Yeah. So Ordell, every woman around him is pretty much out to fuck him right now, pretty much. Not the way that he wants to be fucked, you know. So now we got it's Jackie talking to Max Cherry, kind of giving her the rundown of like how she has to play this whole thing out, telling her what she needs from him. You don't get 100% of the rundown, but you know that it's Jackie not going to give Ordell all that money. One of the reasons why I always like this movie is because they have this time sequence of this whole sting operation, or whatever you want to call it, this big money exchange. I mean, that's what they officially call it. But you see it from everyone's different angles, and that's the coolest thing about it. So the first angle is Jackie Brown's. So she's got the money. She goes into the mall. She goes and buys a suit, and it's like one of the Reservoir Dog suits minus the tie. You know, she doesn't have a tie, but like that's what I think when I saw that. You know, the black and white suit, looking like a badass. And she's in the dressing room, and Melanie comes in there. You don't know what's happening outside. You just know that Melanie comes in there, and Jackie puts a little present on top of the marked bills. So let's go back a second. The bills that Jackie has, the 50,000 that the ATF knows about, they marked it up. So they know which ones are marked. The 500,000, none of those are marked. Nobody knows about those. But Jackie made sure to give Melanie one of the stacks of the marked bills. And she was like, here, I threw a cherry on top. What Ordell ever do for us? You know, nothing. And then so, you know, Melanie pockets that, you know, right away, 10 bands. You know, throws that right in her pocket. And then Jackie comes out, just no bag or anything like that, all hysterical. And, sorry. She pays for the suit, and then starts looking around all hysterical. The music, the anxiety, you know, she's just looking around. You don't know what the fuck is going on right now. You really don't. They're playing them. And then she finally gets to somewhere in the middle of the mall. And she's like, Ray, come out. And she's like, Melanie burst into the dressing room. She stole the money. And then boom, cuts right backwards to the beginning of the scene. But now we're getting it from Louis and Melanie's perspective. You want to talk about Louis trying to get out of the house?
Oh, I love that because, like, first of all, this is why I love Sam Jackson, because like you see different tonalities from him, like where he's like, you know, where he's in the bar, he's like, you told a motherfucker Right? Yeah, that version. And then you have the version where he's like, you know what I mean, talking to her with the low tone, you know what I mean, about this is how it's gonna be, woo woo. But then you also have him calling in a panic, like, and the fact that he picks up the phone knows that his suspicion is correct. Motherfucker, why are you picking up the phone?
Why are you still at the house?
Why are you still at the house? Well, I should say, right?
Yep.
And it's funny because Lewis, I think Lewis is a passive aggressive character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When he lets shit build up, because even then he hangs the phone up on him. You know what I mean?
Sam Jackson is like, just grab that bitch by her motherfucking hair and get her the fuck out of here.
And he goes over there and he pounds on the door one more time. But this bitch, this is why I say he's passive aggressive, because this bitch has been running his ass because she threw him a little bit of piece of pussy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So she's just kind of just running, you know, she obviously wants to utilize him so they can hit a big score. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And but go ahead, continue.
But yeah, so they're just they're running behind the 8 ball, you know, and then they're in the car and like Melanie's like playing her music and Lewis is trying to get into the mode of like, you know, bank robbery mode. Like that's the only thing that, at least as far as we know, that he knows. So to him, this is like the exact same thing. They know that there's, I mean, it's supposed to be 500,000, you know, that they're getting. He ain't never robbed no bank and walked out with 500,000.
Nope.
You know, so this is the biggest kind of money that he's ever going to be handling in his life for anything like this. And Melanie is just like, you know, just sitting like slapping her knees and shit, you know.
Yeah, play slapping her knees to the beat.
Yep, just, you know, being hella goofy. And so they finally get into the mall, you know.
I bet your pussy was whack too. I ain't gonna lie.
It probably was, you know.
I mean, Sam Jackson even said it too, huh?
Yeah.
He was like, hey, she ain't good at it, but she gonna throw it at you.
Yeah, like I remember the way that he described her is like, you know, she's not as pretty as she used to be, a little bit older. She bitches a whole lot more than she used to. He's like, but she's white. And then he starts laughing and cracking up because it's, you know, that's just the way it is. Like it's funny. And so you get to them in the mall. They're just walking around. Melanie's just, you know, being crazy and all that. Lewis is telling her to fucking stick by him, you know, and shit. And then they finally get to where you can see Jackie, you know, they're in the women's department or whatever. And then Lewis has her arm and he's like, no, you're going to stay fucking right here. And then she's like, will you let go? And like says it all loud, you know, just so people can hear. And then he lets go.
White bitch.
Yep, just to not cause a scene. And then she runs, you know, into the dressing room, which we know what happens when she's in there already. And Lewis sees Max Cherry, and Max gives him a little, and Lewis just, I don't know, he just doesn't think anything of it. Like at that point, he's like so dumbfounded to see.
Here's my thing, though. When the fuck we have to assume that he already knows who he is, because before
no. Lewis went into the bail bonds earlier. Like, of course, he was all fucked up when Ordell went in to pay Beaumont's.
Oh yeah, he was.
Because remember, it was even in there.
He's like, here's the keys. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
he was like, you ain't gotta do nothing. Just click it, get a little ooh, and then open the door, get the fuck in.
Right,
it's like you play the volume as loud as you want, but don't touch my levels now. I got them set just the way I like them. So he knows he knows who he is, but I don't know. He just doesn't put anything together. Like just like, okay, he sees him there and is like, what the fuck's this guy doing here? But then just straight back focused, you know, to that dressing room and wondering where the fuck Melanie is at. Because that wasn't supposed to be the plan. She wasn't supposed to run in there like that. Yeah. And then so Melanie comes out, she has a bag, and then she has the bag and she's just like walking all fast. Lewis catches the fuck up to her, grabs the bag like out of her hand, and then brings us to this next scene that we're going to watch here. And probably one of the best, you know, just like I say about all the other ones, definitely one of the best scenes in the entire movie. So Lewis grabs the bag from her, but then is very confused on where the fuck they park because they're in like a huge ass mall, a huge ass department store with probably like 10 exits.
It also didn't help that the bitch was in his ear and fucking him up while he's trying to stay focused the whole fucking time. Like, I don't blame him. But yeah, run that shit.
Here we go. This is where the only time that you see his personality come out, because he says like 10 words throughout the entire movie, you know, like barely anything. And then this one, you see the anger, you see the pent up frustration. Like you said, he's a passive aggressive motherfucker. Just been building up all day.
He blasted her. He warned her though. He basically said, "This is the last straw," without saying it. And listen, I would have killed her.
No, he did say it. Don't say one motherfucking word. Don't say it. And then she went to say something, and he knew that she was gonna say it. He even gave her like a second chance. You know, like an almost like a what's it called? Dang it! Like, are you for sure? Like, what is that? I forgot the billionaire final.
Yeah,
answer.
Is this your final answer?
Yeah, he gave her that too. Like, I'm serious. Don't say one motherfucking word. Okay, Louis.
When she was emphasizing the S on Louis, I would have shot her ass in the face right there.
Louis?
Bam! I would have shot her. The fuck up, bitch. And you know what's so dope about his passive aggression as a character, right? Is that he in his mind thinks she's dead already. Yeah. He's walking away, or he's hoping she's dead at least. And he's walking around, see, I told you. It's right here.
It's right where I said it was.
Fuck up, bitch.
And I cut it off a little bit. But it's funny because like the movie is so real. The devil's in the details. They're driving a little shitty, you know, totally minivan, stalls out and shit, and then he has to restart the car. So
yeah, and you know what's funny about criminals, bro? Like a lot of them are dumb, and he's a dumbass motherfucker to not even look in that bag.
You never looked in the bag at all. Like, why wouldn't that be the first thing you did when you got into the car? At least nobody's around. I know you just shot Melanie, but nobody's around.
Yeah, stupid fuck.
Yep. And so then we get the last.
She says it all too. I don't even know how the fuck you robbed the bank. Like, you know, she's already like painting the picture of him being a crony. He's a dumbass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not a crony. He's a lackey.
Yeah.
You know
it's like when you guys rob banks, did you have to search for your car then too?
For real. Shitting on him.
It's talking mad shit.
And like, okay, let me ask you a question real quick. In your opinion, do you think he's taking her through this whole aisles and stuff like that, where the car is, so he can murk her, like find the right place?
No, I really think that
he was like impulsive. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, because I mean, it's the hugest mall in the world, it said, or something like that, or in America. I mean, we saw the parking lot. Like, it's not like they park close, like they park like hella far, you know, from it.
Yeah.
So
no,
yeah,
I like that. I like that because I like the impulsiveness of it. You know what I mean?
I like what you said. I mean, it was really just all the shit that built up, you know, to where he couldn't take it no more. Like that, there was going to be a last straw, and she
Louis. I would have shot her right in the neck right there.
And then we get the third part of this, at least the third point of view, which is Max Cherry. So we already know he's in there because Louis sees him. Louis doesn't acknowledge him, but we definitely know that he sees him.
It's a good suit, right? Would you agree?
It's a what?
It's a good suit.
Oh, yeah. Jackie looks good in it.
No, but also like Max's suit, too.
It's all right. Max kind of
black, like, you know, because he never wears it before this suit, right? He's always bummy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This one, he dressed nice for the occasion.
Yeah.
Probably in his
best suit.
Yeah. It's so funny. This I don't know why I just thought of this, but this got to go back almost 20 years ago when hanging out with one of my cronies, just from way back in the day. And we were getting some trees, and he shows up in a suit. And I'm just like, he's got a backpack on. Like, why the fuck are you wearing a suit? It's like, no one ever suspect that a guy in a suit has some stuff in a backpack.
You're holding a backpack. Maybe a suitcase. Maybe go with a suitcase. Right.
The logic was definitely flawed. But you know, but just like Sam Jackson said in the beginning, but you know, you can't tell those motherfuckers anything.
Wow.
So Max is the whole key to all this money getting out of there, because Melanie, we already know that she snatched some of the money, but she ended up getting shot, you know, and then Louis has the piece of the money, but we see Jackie when she goes in there, she has two bags. One of the bags has a bunch of books on the bottom with maybe like 40 or 50 grand in it. And that's the one where she gave Melanie the marked bills on top. And then the other one, the other bag that she had, that's where that 500 grand was at. And she doesn't come out of the dressing room with any bags. So we just know that one of the bags was left behind and then the other one went to Melanie. So you see everything unfolding in front of Max. And then after Jackie leaves, that's when he goes up. And as Jackie leaves, she says that someone left a bag of beach towels. So Max goes up and, you know, just the saleswoman, you know, just bullshitting, wanting to talk on the phone and shit. He's like, I think my wife left some beach towels. And she's like, oh, yeah, they're in there. Just go get them. No one's back there, you perv. And then so he goes, he gets the money, walks out, and just... They have like, you know, some dramatic music during it because it is a whole big thing. He opens the dressing room and the bag is just there, you know.
Well, the whole thing is too is because it goes back to the conversation. Would you walk? What would you do if you could walk away with 500 M's or 500 bands?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's really big for him because him already agreeing to her. You know what I mean? He already crossed the line. There's it's all points of no return for Max. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is the big one.
Oh, yeah. And he still did the right thing, huh? They do a callback on the I only took 10% or whatever it was, right?
Yeah. What was agreed upon from Ordell to Jackie?
Yes.
And then she got the rest. Ballin'. And so he just walks out, and then they got that music, you know, that fast-paced music. And then he just gets away scot-free, you know, just like they do. And and then, I mean, it was too easy for Max. Like, everything was real easy for Max. Like, it's crazy. He was carrying the 500 bands, but his seemed the easiest out of everybody. Everyone else had a lot of problems with what was going on.
It's because he was white.
That is very true.
This is why I asked you, because I thought it was a good suit, because it's probably based as a comparison to how he was dressing before that.
Right. But, in his old movies. Because I know he was in a lot of old movies and he used to be the badass, you know, in movies. And I know he did used to rock suits. Maybe that was an ode to one of, you know, some old movies in the suits he used to rock.
Yeah.
So now, the next scene after that is Louis going to pick up Ordell. They got all the money. Everything is a success, at least as far as they're concerned. And we got the scene that we're going to be breaking down here because this is one of the craziest scenes throughout the entire movie. We got 3 parts of this scene that we're going to be breaking down. Let's just get into part 1.
Where's Melanie?
Well, that's what I want to tell you. You see, she was bugging me the whole time. She got pissy with me because I wouldn't let her carry the bag, and then she started running her fucking mouth about, you know, because I couldn't remember where the car was parked right away when we came out. So then she got on me about that. Is it this aisle, Louis? Is it that aisle, Louis? It's totally fucking with my nerves, man.
So what? You left her there?
Louis,
ain't no fucking answer. Yes or no? Is she dead?
I think so.
You think so? Tell me, Louis.
She's dead.
But where'd you shoot her?
In the chest and the stomach.
If you had to do it, then you had to do it, bro. What we don't want is that bitch surviving on us. You know, anybody but that woman.
It's like a nice callback.
Yeah.
Because it's like a callback to when he's questioning him in the bar about like, how do you trust this bitch?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he straight up says it. You better hope she's died. She won't survive because anybody but that woman.
Because he knows she'll give everybody up in a heartbeat. Yeah, so funny. Like, you couldn't just talk to her. You couldn't just hit her. It's like, I don't know. At that moment, I don't know.
Hey, man, he had enough, man. He had enough to hear.
Is she dead? Pretty much. Pretty much? What's that fucking mean? That ain't no motherfucking answer.
And then he's like, yes. Even when he says, where'd you shoot her? In the chest and the stomach. He didn't like that either. He's like,
no.
motherfucker, dude. Like he couldn't, like and you could tell he's thinking like, man, you couldn't shoot in the face, man.
Like, so I had to break down these scenes. I had to break down this scene into 3 individual parts because that's just how in depth these Tarantino scenes are. Like this first part of the scene, they're getting together. I mean, as far as Sam Jackson knows, it's supposed to be Melanie and Louis in the car, and they're supposed to have a bag with 500,000. And then the first thing is he's like, "Where the fuck's Melanie at?" There's already something off about this whole situation. And yeah, and then Louis having to explain that he killed her, and Sam Jackson needing to hear the words, that she's dead. Like just her being shot's not enough because she better not survive anybody but that woman.
For real.
And now the second part is where things really go awry because now, after he doesn't care about Melanie anymore, if you had to do it, bro, you had to do it. Like he's okay with it. If it had to be done to get this money, it had to be done as long as she didn't survive. But then things change very, very quickly. Here we go. Part 2 of this clip. Things escalate hella quickly because just right in a split second, he's now come to peace with Melanie being dead, as long as he got his money. But then goes through the bag, notices that fucking most of the money is gone. When you're supposed to be getting 550,000 and you only see about 40,000.
Do you notice the math is funny?
You lied about 500,010.
Yeah. It's like, listen, you mean like it's just so funny how the math,
well, no. So here's what it is. The 50,000 is what ATF knows about. And then there's another 500,000 on top of that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So
but I love how he looks at the bands. He's like, man, it's like 40 or less because the bitch took because the bitch took the 10.
Yeah.
The dead ass bitch.
Yep, exactly. Because those are all the marked bills, all 50,000 of them. Yep. And so then it goes from him thinking that Melanie's dead to now flipping the script. Like he's like, wait, where the fuck did she come out of the fitting room? How long was she in there? Only a minute. He was like, and then you guys went to the parking lot where you shot her, huh? And you hear his voice change. It's a question, thinking that it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you sure Melanie ain't up in a room right now with 500,000 of my hard-earned dollars?
Right. And I love, this is why De Niro is De Niro. Because that whole scene right there where he's legit honest, he's telling the truth there.
Yeah.
And he just so happens to be a dumbass too, though. So in the midst of being honest, he fails to tell him an important detail. You know what I mean?
Yep. And that's where we're getting into for the last part of this ultimate climax, at least of Lewis's character. Man, just the end of that. What happened to your ass? Your ass used to be beautiful.
I'm about to nitpick the fuck out of something real quick.
Let's get it.
I don't like when he goes in to presses it and shoots him for the second time. I don't like the audio of the gunshot. It shouldn't have been that loud, like an echo. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the audio was from a gunfire from being in an open area. You know what I mean?
Yep. The louder the better is all that I assume when it comes to these gunshots.
Yeah, but I'm just you know what I mean? And then also too, I'm nitpicking. But this is a great scene though, nonetheless. That's like I had to find something to nitpick even. You know what I mean?
Shows how dumb Lewis is, because then the wheels start turning, finally. When he's when Sam Jackson's like, or what if he gave it to someone else before Melanie got in there? And, wait, what? You know who I did see in there? And he's like, nah, who'd you see? He's like, well, I just didn't think it had anything to do with us. And, and blah, blah, blah,
he wasn't even entirely right too. When with his
thought process.
His thought process. He wasn't even entirely when she gave it to someone else prior. No. It was really after the fact.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And what's funny is like how Louis is the quintessential like dumb criminal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like this is a reason, and that goes back to how the character of Ordell is more sadist than anything. He might not be slick at all. What he does is take advantage of any kind of authority he has. He abuses it. So if you work for him, you know what I'm saying, and he's gonna abuse you. But how do you work for him? What's the prerequisite? Somebody weak-minded or dumb as fuck. In this case, Louis. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. So he blows.
Like he had to explain. You know what says a lot about Louis? Having to explain the motherfucking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, you have to do nothing. You just click a little button here. Ooh, and then you get in.
If you notice too, the way he explains it to him, it's kind of funny. He says, "You got it. This is the key. What's the key? This is the key right here." And he said, "But you got to first. You got to fucking go, and then unlock the door." Then he explains to him. Then he asks again, and he goes, "Yeah, you pointed at it, and then it unlocks the door." Like that was funny to me because before that, the explanation was unlock it and then put the fucking key in. You know what I mean?
Yep. And when we go all the way back to him, like showing him Beaumont, show him Louis, you're gonna come in on this with me. You got to be prepared to go all the way.
Yeah.
He went all the way. That was for sure. So we see him. He shoots Louis, gets out of the car, and then that's the last, that we see him. And then it cuts back to Ray and Jackie in the interrogation. Jackie, I'm sure, is nervous as hell right now because this is pretty much the end of the line.
But she sells it so good because she's scared.
She's got her cigarette like she always does. And Ray's just like, if I have all this stuff hanging over my head like you do, I feel like I'd go shopping afterwards.
Yeah. But also, too, what's funny is like when I'm watching it, I'm screaming at the TV, explaining to him, "Oh, how could you do? She's a black woman. And you're going to walk out not paying some shit? They'll arrest. Like, it'll be the end of the world in Mallville. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They will sick the dogs on her because she's not a white woman. She's a black woman.
Yeah.
So paying for the suit was part of the course. Plus, that was something she probably that was part of the meticulous planning.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And she said how she had to put the suit back on because she could put that on quicker than her flight attendant stuff. And what else was it? When Melanie burst in there, she was in her underwear, so she had to put something back on. She couldn't just run out like in her underwear.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too because like Ray already knows that it's bullshit, but everything's kind of lining up. And like he goes one more chance, and I wish that I had this. I wish I could have pulled this scene, but I wasn't able to find it at all. But like one last chance, like throws his hand, and he was like, "You don't know where that money went." And she's like, "No." He's like, "Could have went here, could have went there." And like he's like this whole little thing where he's like, going at her real quick to try to get her to break. Like at all.
He was good. He was actually spot on.
And she didn't crack. Crack. And he's like, "Oh, you want me to put a polygraph there?" She's like, "Put the motherfucker there. Motherfucker make you happy." So
and you know what's crazy? Those tears too.
Yeah.
So good because
it started from, you could kind of see it in the beginning, like that she had a little bit of like water in her eyes when she's like taking the deep drags on the cig before the whole scene really starts.
Yeah. Because she's really nervous. She don't even think herself that she can get away with this, but she has nothing to lose because what's the other option? She could be killed, you know what I mean? Or she go to jail or prison or whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's really plan A or bust. And like, so like the reality of that for her, because this is phase 3 or 4 or whatever in her plan, got to go in there and lie to the D's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And fucking she passes it with flying colors.
Yeah, and like
and it probably helped that she would that he wanted to fuck her too.
I'm sure, and everyone kind of coming up dead. I mean, helped them too, because you know, he was like, I know you didn't pay for that suit with marked bills, you know, so he knew that she didn't do that, and Melanie was found with marked bills in her shorts.
See, and that's all meticulous planning.
Yeah.
Hey, bitch, we don't know each other. And I love that there's the door between them and you only see the feet, obviously Tarantino. But the whole point is like, what has Ordell ever done for us? Here, bitch.
Yeah.
Went, hits her in the soft spot.
And it was because
her planning.
Yeah, I don't know. She knew that Melanie was
going to knew that Melanie was going to get popped, but she already knew Melody is the problem.
Yeah.
And Melody will get caught on the bench. If not, get killed. Melody will be running around with a motherfucking marked bills. And here's another thing. Like, why? I mean, how does she know Melody was dead?
No, she didn't. They said that. They said that. No. They told her that, like, there. And that's how they said Melanie had the marked bills, and he said that goes a long way to collaborate your story, because they didn't know what Ordell had because he had the money, the other marked bills. They didn't catch him with marked bills. So if Melanie didn't have those bills, then Jackie is maybe still in trouble because they have no proof that Ordell has them.
Ooh, so good.
So good. Yeah, Melanie needed to get shot or busted for Jackie's story to, like, you know, be corroborated all the way.
Oh, yeah.
But, yep, and then, Lewis is dead. And then it's Max Cherry and Ordell time. This is the time when everything...
Before you bring this up, I want tell them about how you put me on this of the transition. Like when you said, "Did you notice? What did you notice after?" Remember that? You asked me to.
Fuck, I'm really high right now. Give me another hint.
You said you noticed that now.
Oh, from Sam Jackson. Yeah. From Sam Jackson's character from Ordell. So it goes, and I've already talked about kind of the evolution of the character throughout this, but you know, he starts off as a happy-go-lucky, you know, like guy who we know is a gun runner,
slick talking
motherfucker, real like way too full of life for the type of business that he's in. And then you see how dirty he really gets and how he's a cold-blooded killer, you know, and then he starts getting like real like vulnerable, you know, when it comes to Jackie Brown and all that, maybe even scared, you know, close to that. And then now he just lost all of his money. And now, I mean, we're talking desperation, and you could just see this roller coaster of emotions. And now he's just like a man who's kind of lost everything. He goes from that happy-go-lucky guy to a guy who he's always yelling, the Sam Jackson yell, you know, is going when he's trying to call Mr. Walker and shit, you know, but then it turns into that low monotone, like, I'm really gonna kill you, motherfucker. And just everything changes. So we're about to have a scene right now that we're gonna watch right before they go into the bail bonds.
One more thing is before you play this scene, when you played the last scene, that's the first time I actually realized that that's part of his. This was a thing of his character where he said, "Look at me when I'm talking to you, motherfucker." Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. That one, but this one, oh yeah, go ahead, run that shit.
Hold on. So before we get into this, let's set this up. So Max Cherry, he calls Ordell. He doesn't know where Ordell's at, so he needs Winston to figure out where he is.
Oh, yeah. I love this. I mean, we already saw the scene earlier, lightweight.
Yep. Saw the part of it anyways. If you didn't see it, go back and watch it at the beginning. And so Max is calling up Ordell, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to bring you your money, bring you your $10,000 back, the $10,000 collateral that he put down, you know, for Jackie getting out of jail. Says he wants to bring him that money. And Ordell's like, you know what the fuck I want, motherfucker, and what money I'm talking about, motherfucker. He was like, if Jackie ain't gonna be my friend, you know, and she's gonna dime me out or something, I'll name her as my accomplice, and we'll go upstate in hand and motherfucking hand.
Cuff.
and so scene cuts from there, and it gets to Max showing up to Ordell's house. And it's so funny because Max, like the motherfucking cop that he is, coming in, banging the fuck on the door. Ordell opening the door. Why the fuck you knocking like the motherfucking police?
He is.
Like, he's such a dumbass. Like, man, just like knocking loud as fuck.
Same ass look.
Same
So
ass,
good.
lame ass look.
So good. He keeps that dumbass look on his face the whole fucking time. So good.
Yep. And then so Max comes into the house. He's gonna give him the money. Ordell's pissed as fuck. And then Max kind of explains what happens, like, oh, she wants to give you your money and all this and that, and blah, 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 blah. But then it cuts to the scene right where they're about to be they're driving. And Ordell, he wasn't gonna let Max drive. He's like, give me those keys, motherfucker. I'm driving. Gets in the car, and of course the Delphonics comes on. Because Max went and bought the tape, earlier at the store. And that's all he's been playing, driving around thinking about Jackie and shit. And then it gets real. It gets really, really real. Sorry to everyone who's watching this on YouTube, because I'm sure the clip isn't going to come up. So make sure you go listen on the podcast form, ssbpod.com. Make sure you go download the podcast on Apple Pod, Spotify, Amazon, literally everywhere. Go download it and go leave us a 5-star review.
Give me money.
Go leave us a 5-star review everywhere. And let's get into this very last scene. Appreciate you guys hanging with us.
My money's in that office, right? She started giving me some bullshit about it ain't there, and we gotta go someplace else and get it. I'm gonna shoot you in the head right then and there. Then I'm gonna shoot that bitch in the kneecaps, find out where my goddamn money is. She gonna tell me to. Hey, look at me when I'm talking to you, motherfucker. Listen, I go walking in there, and that nigga Winston or anybody else is in there, you the first motherfucker get shot. You understand me?
Yeah.
That ain't nothing you want to tell me before we get out this car, is there?
Nope.
Last chance, motherfucker, you shot. Better be, motherfucker. All right. Let's roll.
Sam Jackson is just such a good actor. Like, man, that whole scene. Whew.
I love the tonality, like the delivery of how, like, it's so intense. And by this time, it's already built up that he's one of the baddest motherfuckers, bro. Like, but he's terrifying. And like I literally laughed out loud watching this shit again, because when he says, "Look at me when I'm talking to you, motherfucker," and he looks at him and he has that same dumbass look. He does that face the whole fucking movie. Oh man, that's good acting, because goddamn. Oh my god, that's good acting, dude.
And man, and Ordell, he's just like, if that bitch tells me that we're gonna have to go get the money somewhere else, I'm shooting her in the kneecap. And he's like, if Winston or any of them other motherfuckers are up in there, I'm shooting you first.
You know what's funny too is how, what I'm saying, he speaks in certainty. It's a path to the dark side. You know what I'm saying? Mace, and what's funny is people don't know about Mace Windu, the character that he plays in Star Wars, is that he has the capability of utilizing the dark side of the Force without turning, because the dark side of the Force is far more powerful than the light side with the Jedis, right? But you get corrupted when you utilize it. he mastered the art of being able to dance between the line and draw from it if he ever needed to. You know what I'm saying? And what's dope about that is because that's what, he requested them to have a purple lightsaber for him.
Yeah.
He requested that, right?
Had to be different.
Yeah. But then they went and wrote a whole backstory for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's how dope he is just as an actor, that they split Star Wars to where it's some shit that didn't even exist and made
right?
it just
a
motherfucker
who has a purple lightsaber because and all he wanted was purple because he liked the color and he wanted to be different. He said, when we're in the middle of motherfucking lightsaber battles, I want motherfuckers to see me and know that's me. Right? That was his whole logic. And when they did that shit for him, they wrote the whole backstory that it's purple because it's red and blue. You know what I'm saying? He's able to conjure the fucking dark side power without turning. You know what I mean?
That shit's dope. Hell yeah. Sam Jackson, he's the man. Rufus, he's the man.
Steven?
Man. And so, spoiler alert, it ends the way that Jackie Brown wants this to end. So Ordell, he's going up in there. I mean, he's got his gun ready, like he always does on the hip. Max Cherry's walking right in front of him. Jackie's ready. Like you kind of see, like they keep cutting back to Jackie and then back to Ordell and Max Cherry. Like she's in the office, waiting for them. She's got the gun, right there in the little top drawer, just ready to pull it out, like she's going to be the one to shoot him if it went down. But of course, the ATF is actually there now. And so what happens is he goes in.
Buddy, right?
Huh?
It's really just Buddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, at least that's all we see is Ray. And so it's funny because, like, remember in the one scene way back where he's going to go kill Jackie, he keeps turning off the light.
Yeah.
When he walks in this time, the lights are off. And he's like, man, why is it so dark in here?
And that's funny because he subconsciously knew, right? Because that's what he would do if you murder somebody.
Yeah, he probably had his hand on the gun, like already, when he came in and it's dark. And then it's just so quick. He's like, hey, Jackie. And then she's like, Ray, he's got a gun. And then, Michael Keaton busts in, shoots him once, like right in the chest or twice. And that's just it.
And, here's one thing too, man. I mean, it really kind of made me upset that that's how he went out. Right. But it's so funny because when you look at that scene, that whole sequence of events, how powerful that sweet Jackie Brown pussy is. And ain't nobody even had that shit yet. You know what I mean? Like this motherfucker.
She's better than everyone that she's flaunting it to. And wouldn't even give it up.
I mean, because look at for fucking, what's his name, bro? Max.
So
Max was fully under the influence of the pussy, and he ain't even had it yet.
He took 10%. That means Jackie got 450,000. She would have given it up to Max if he would have taken it right then. She would have given it up to get that 400,000 because that's just how real it is. That type of money.
To be honest, Max could have died in this process too. That's how you know how powerful she is. Is that you know what I mean? That he was willing to do this. Like, all right, let's do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He looks at him. Anything? Nope. Like, because he probably didn't even know neither. If I was Jackie Brown, I wouldn't have shared with him. Listen, you're about to walk in here. She didn't have to tell him that Ray was there.
Right. In the end, I mean, she even said it, when she's back at the bail bonds, after everything's done, she's ready to go. She's got Ordell's car, and it's funny. And Max brings it up like the cop he is, She's like, hey, isn't that Ordell's car? And she was like, yeah, he's not going to need it. Registration was in the glove box. Hey.
Yeah, keys is on the seat.
And she was like, you never borrowed anyone's car before? He was like, not after they're dead. Motherfucking cop, like he can't turn it off the entire time.
No,
just
and he can't even go with her.
No,
like his
He wanted to. He wanted to quit. He already said he was going to retire.
And he didn't. He was still picking up phone calls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He said it to her that he was about to close that chapter of his life. And she said, well, why? Because I'm just tired. What did he say?
He said he wrote 15,000 bonds in his life. And he said it was after he dropped her off that night, after, picking her up.
He didn't realize.
Yeah. It was like, cause he had to go pick someone up, and he had to go to their house, and he was like, had to stake out at their house and had a taser and shit. And like whole crazy ass story, to get someone who is pretty much running, out on bail.
Right.
He was done with it at that point.
And what's so funny about it is because he took his little percentage. But
I mean, 50,000. I mean, shit. Like, back then, that's late 90s.
Hear me out, though. He could not, for the life of him, go with her because this was his little way of like, okay, you already had me do all this. I'll take my little 50 bands. You know what I mean?
Because he's still a cop at heart, is what it is.
Exactly.
That part didn't change throughout the entire movie.
Yeah. He kind of kept, he wanted to keep the integral structure of who he is.
Right. That's why he only took 10% as a manager.
Exactly.
Or an agent, whatever. Yeah, 10% is the agent. And she wanted him to take more. I mean, I think that it's one of those, though, like, oh, take more. Nah. Yeah, take more. It's like the 3 times or whatever. You know what you got to do. She was just playing the game is what it was. Because as soon as she gets in that car and starts bumping across 110th Street, like,
gone.
She's gone. Everybody's in the past. Max had her chance real quick, lost it.
And like
nobody else had a chance.
You could try to nitpick and be like, well, how is she going to leave with all this money? And it's like, let's just use a stewardess. So she knows how to hide things. Like, she started assuming this thing because she dipped out with a little bit under half an M.
Oh, yeah. She ain't a stewardess anymore. She's quitting that little $16,000.
No, but she knew how to go through that process, carrying all the bands.
Well, no one checked her bag. Like, if you remember in the very beginning of the movie, they're going, I mean, in the opening credits, they're showing everyone's bags going through, the x-rays and all that shit. Yep. And she's just walking right to the side, just like the way that, they did in Blow. They don't check her bag. She's a stewardess. They don't check her bags.
Nope.
I don't know. Airplanes, it seems really risky.
Yeah,
that's definitely going to be a movie that we're going to do.
Oh, yeah, we're going to go down that rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah. Well, we've been running this one for almost 3 hours.
So, for real?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mushrooms give me money.
Shit.
I'm sure. Didn't it feel longer than 3 hours for you?
I don't know. I ain't going to lie. It felt like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Mushroom. It felt like it stopped once the mushrooms hit. I ain't going to lie.
Yeah. There we go. Man, well, I'm excited. If you guys didn't watch the Pulp Fiction, breakdown, make sure you go check that out. I'm not sure exactly what movie that we're going to be doing next, but I know we're going to be diving into some Kevin Smith movies. We're going to get into some more gangster flicks. One thing that I know we're going to be doing is the first time I'm revealing it, but we're going to be getting into doing like a bank robbery series, that type of shit. Like best bank robbery type movies, because there's so many to choose from. So where we talk about a few movies, at once instead of just breaking down one specific movie, we're gonna talk about. Yeah. And you know what? I'm making the executive decision. That's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna think of a bunch of the best bank robbery movies that we can come up with, and we're gonna chop those down a little bit as we go through.
You ever seen Bandit?
Nope.
Fucking Billy Bob Thornton and Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
There we go.
It's a fucking rom-com basically to me.
There we go. Yeah, I know some of the movies definitely going to be talking about on the bank robbery series. Set It Off, going to be one of them. What's the one with Johnny?
You know what's funny? I've never seen it.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good one.
No,
well, you know what, and maybe we'll change that around. I mean, I know we're doing 2 weeks in between shows. Maybe we won't do that one next if we got to watch a few of these movies, but we'll figure something out.
I'm just saying, I ain't never seen that one on purpose. Like I'm finna.
Oh man, that's a real gangster flick right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we're getting up out of here. Appreciate you guys hanging with us, and see you next episode.
Yeah.